Many of my fans know me for my trademark hat. I don't need that anymore now that I found this game changer of a shaver. Flex Series by Freedom Grooming.
You can shave wet or dry. It's your choice. You can do it on the go.
Look at that smoothness, man. The smoothest shave I ever had. Smoother than a baby's bottom. This is a must-have. You must get this. It will change your life. Trust me. Like I said, best 3 minutes of your life. It's showtime.
Man, cut the check. Venomous Smoke Podcast. Give us our 5%.
Welcome to the Venomous Wrestling Podcast. This is your host, Mo Young, kicking it to you live on this Thursday. It's Thursday. You know what it is. You already know what we're about to do. Man, let me bring in my two co-hosts, my two partners. Let's bring them in. They got the fairest one, and you got, of course, the baddest woman on YouTube live.
Yeah, I feel out of fucking place.
Oh, you feel out of place? Okay, I got you.
Well, I'm sick, so bear with me.
That's okay.
But Boom. So now I got us where we are on the board.
Okay.
Got 'em. Boom, boom, boom. Now y'all covering each other. Everybody covering everybody's face. So man, we got a special guest today. LaLa back at it. I think I I had took over for a while, but LaLa's back at it. And oh, look, me and LaLa twins. Twins.
I know. Yes.
Izzy didn't get the memo today. So,
Izzy's been doped up.
He's been doped up. So
I know.
I just been rebellious.
I'm dragging for you.
I
But LaLa,
appreciate
you know the deal. You bring them in, you introduce them. Because we got a big fucking deal in here. I ain't gonna censor it. I ain't censoring it. I ain't gonna say F it. We got a big fucking deal up in here today.
Oh, okay. Well, since spoiler alert, we do have a big fucking deal in here. I met this man at Southern States Pro, and guess what? He's from Brooklyn, just like me.
Brooklyn.
So, without further ado, I give you my man's Jeter.
Let's get it, man. Let's get it.
How y'all doing?
Oh,
Good evening, young man.
Good. I mean, I'm just looking at your highlights. You were just throwing people around. I'm like, shit, this is like kind of wrestling I like.
Listen, I seen it in person.
I feel sorry for old dude you clothesline. I'm like, shit, he did.
I didn't feel bad for that jabroni. Fuck him. Wrong place, wrong time.
Fuck, Izzy, goddamn, when you sick, you are just fucking mean.
Oh my god.
I'm like, I had to peel this dude up off the floor, and then he suplexed one dude. I'm like, oh shit.
Listen, I got a chance to see the whole thing in person. I'm like, god damn. I'm like, you know what? I got all the videos. Here you go.
I'm so glad you joined us, man. Didn't you say he was ERC's partner?
Yep.
That's our G. Man, why he ain't bring you on the first two? Well, he came on 2 times, right? Yeah. Could have brought you on. We could have been on here, man. You know, tag team partner. Now I definitely got to see y'all in action.
Absolutely.
Yeah, most def. ERC. Yeah, that's a kid I've known for 10 years now. And I've watched him grow from being a little scrawny kid that couldn't get right to where he is now. To where people are starting to take notice of him in the ring and on the microphone. And it's a good thing to see. Watch somebody grow from being doubtful of themselves to completely believing that they belong where they are and see where they want to go and where the road's taking them. It's a good thing.
Oh yeah, man. But how did you get your start in the wrestling world,
man? I've always been a fan of wrestling. And in truth and honesty, Brian Blaze outside of wrestling is actually one of my best friends in life. And he was going to school at the Art Institute in Atlanta. And in them going to school, him and his school friends met Stephen Platinum somehow, some way, and started training. And he sends me a message one day and goes, "Yo, dude, Cousin Chris's Creed is shorter than I am." I'm like, "Yo, where you meet him at?" He goes, "Oh, I train to wrestle now." And my reaction was, "Yo, son, you got to get me in. What we doing?"
Put me down. Put me in.
Nothing else. Like, yo, you got to get me in. What we do this at? And he was like, "I'll come pick you up tomorrow." He shows up, he picks me up, and we go in. And it was like, yep. I always told my mother I'd be here. I guess I'm gonna go ahead and do this thing.
That's what I'm talking about.
Man, that's a great story, man. So who was your influences? Like, I'm getting all the J questions out the way.
Yeah, because we have another person who comes in the comments and start asking the basic questions, and he's somewhere nowhere to be found.
That's him.
That's him. Right?
Nowhere to be found.
So we call these the J questions. So, like, who inspired you? Like, what wrestler inspired you to be like, I want to be a wrestler?
I'm gonna say it this way. It wasn't necessarily a wrestler in particular that inspired me to want to wrestle. It was just I enjoyed wrestling, period. But if I had to go out and say, "Oh, I'm this guy, this is my guy," as it was a mixture of different dudes, but the main guy for me being Undertaker. Somewhere.
That's LaLa's
That's
favorite
my
right there.
favorite.
Oh yeah,
Where's the purple light? Where's the blue and purple light you have?
Look, I had green going on, and then I was touching the wrong button, so it's green and white going on. You gotta give me a minute.
You can't say nothing bad about Undertaker on this show. LaLa gonna
No
no.
Undertaker slander. Leave that man alone.
See, I'm the Undertaker fan that can be objective and say this match was trash.
Oh, absolutely.
This match was trash. And
especially versus Goldberg.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah, Jesus.
That's two dudes who were physically over the hill, and one dude who's known to be less than intelligent in the ring.
Yes, I love this guy already. Yes.
No, the other one that was trash was when the one with Undertaker Kane versus Shawn Michaels and Triple H at Saudi Arabia. That was
that was four guys over the hill.
We can name that's four dudes who are over the hill. They're just here to the part they played was we are the draw to make sure that we get our American fans to watch this. That's all they were there. They were the names that were there, and they did what they were supposed to do. The problem is you got a man who hasn't been in the ring in 10 years. You got a man who blows his knees out every 6 years. You got a dude who hasn't been healthy in 10 years, and you got Fat Kane.
Yeah, Fat
Kane. Mayor Kane. Mayor Kane.
So I'll say this. Once you add all those miles, once you add all the miles they've been on the road, all the miles on their body, and then you add in their physical states, that match was not going to be good at all.
No.
I still can't believe Sarah Lee passed away at this 30 years young.
Yeah, I found that out earlier today.
Yeah, RP to her, man.
Most definitely.
But they didn't say what happened though, so.
Never know. But I'm just saying, I always tell LaLa my favorite Undertaker was Big Evil Undertaker. I didn't like
why? Listen, I be like, why?
To me, he was killing people for real as Big Evil.
I mean, I liked the Big Evil too. I liked it like all the stages.
He had the best lines as Big Evil.
I make the
Big Evil. You know what the difference is between him? We'll say Undertaker between 1990 and 2001 is that he was being Mark. That's the real difference. They let him inject a lot of himself into the character, and that's why it came off so authentic. Because behind the scenes, he's a biker.
Absolutely.
And that was just Mark. They just bring it as Undertaker, so you got to see who the man behind the character, if you will.
Yeah, and I'm like, that was some of my favorite Undertaker matches was when he was Big Evil, and he killed Maven in the Royal Rumble. So
he did not kill Maven. It was just like
yes, it was more.
I was there for that match. He killed that boy.
He did kill that boy.
I was there for running.
He killed him.
Undertaker made that man famous for the rest of his life. If Maven does nothing else in life, you're running him for that.
He beat him up.
He killed that dude. You didn't see Maven no more, man.
That was it. Maven was like, "Fuck this, I'm out. Take your tough enough money. I ain't doing this shit."
That's because Maven got big headed. That's his fault.
Mind you, that's the same Rumble he got whooped by Holly, Benoit, and Eddie.
Yes, sir.
And then turned around and got whooped by Undertaker.
Yeah. And then Daniel Pewter was another one that got whooped by Benoit, Eddie.
Oh God, that was brutal.
Okay. In his defense, I will say this. In his defense, Daniel Pewter was stupid.
He was an arrogant little bitch. No, fuck that shit. He was an arrogant little bitch who got what he fucking deserved.
Okay, well, there's that perspective. But Daniel Pewter was stupid. And what I mean by that is he had no locker room etiquette.
Nope.
You have kids who come in that have the big head. You have kids who just don't know any better. And Pewter was one of those guys who didn't know any better. He felt because he had quote unquote a legit background, that it wouldn't. A lot of people couldn't measure up to him at the time. He found out otherwise. Just
Mhm.
because you have the certifications doesn't mean you're gonna go out here and whoop somebody in a real fight.
They beat the shit out of him too, but nobody got whooped like Maven. Maven died.
Yeah. Daniel Peter was no Ken Shamrock.
No.
No. He's not even Matt Riddle. So no.
Immediately no.
But I was, we normally ask what's your style. We kind of seen your style from the package video we had.
Yes. You like to fucking throw people around.
I say it this way. I grew up wrestling, amateur wrestling, got into MMA for a little while, just as a way to stay in shape, as a way to because I just fell in love with MMA and what it does, because it was the closest thing I could get to pro wrestling before I got into the school that I loved. So it's somewhat based in mixed martial arts. I do say somewhat because I've tilted it back a whole lot compared to Young Judy. Young Judy was out there kicking everybody in the head and everything else.
Ooh. Oh Lord, good Lord. I'm about to go check out some Young Gita, some Young Gita films.
If you can find some, those were the days when we weren't filming, and a lot of it was just you just go out here and wrestle. It was me throwing kicks. It was me, suplexing, and a lot of submission stuff. And I learned to tilt a lot of that back. Thank God.
Man, them suplexes are still vicious though.
Oh, absolutely.
They're fucking vicious.
That's all amateur wrestling and judo. That's all it is. Amateur wrestling and judo.
Yeah, and I looked at it, I said, it's flawless. This is a flawless suplex. I said, damn. Like it didn't look like you messed up. It was just like perfect form, and then damn, how he landed, it was like fuck.
Well, the joke around wrestling is if Jeter wants you to go, you're going. That you have no choice in the matter. That's the literal joke. If he decides he wants to pick you up, you're going. I've had Logan Creed tell somebody that I've been there where he's just strong. He just grabs you and you have nowhere to go, and you just, I'm like, yeah, it's just not personal. It's just that's that amateur background. If I grab you and decide you're going, you're going.
That's it. End of story.
Take the ride.
Yeah.
So, what's like your favorite match? You can say you've been a part of. You can name more than one.
Favorite match I've been a part of. I have a couple in all actuality. And it's all for different reasons.
Cool.
And not in any particular order. If I had to name them, me versus Shane Marks and the Iron Man. Me versus the second match myself and Gunnar Miller had at the second round. Me versus Michael Judas in a cage. Me versus Towers at a Peach State show.
Hmm.
Can we find videos of those?
Me and Towers, I doubt it.
Oh.
But there may be a chance because I don't know if they were filming that particular night.
Okay.
Me versus Shane Marks. I know that Iron Man is on YouTube.
Okay.
Nice.
Definitely looking it up tonight.
We looking it up.
Yes.
I'm gonna watch it during work.
Matter of fact, me and Gunnar Miller, our first two matches are on YouTube.
Gotcha.
Yeah, just about everything you can find on YouTube except for maybe that Peach State match with me and Towers.
Oh, you were Austin Towers?
Yeah.
I just saw that glimpse of that before the show started. I was like, he went against Austin Towers? Shit.
Yeah, me and Towers had a year long thing going where It started out in Alabama, where everybody was like, "Yo, we got this 7-foot kid that just needs somebody to work with him." And people started telling me about him in 17. Me being me and how I am, I'll shoot you a message to see where your head's at. And I sent him a message and was like, I mean, it was simple. It was something simple like, "Are you really 7 feet tall?" He goes, "Nah, I'm X, Y, and Z." I said, "Do yourself a favor. Stop telling people you're this tall because you're going to mess around and get in the ring with somebody like me. And they're going to look at you and be like, he's not what he say
He's
he is."
lying.
And he
And
lying.
and the reason why I told him that is because it happened with me and Creed. Creed was going around telling everybody he's a 7-foot monster. First time we get face to face, little girl in the front row go, "Creed's not 7 feet tall."
Oops.
So it was like, so I told him, I was like, "Yo, if
So
you're
how
not
tall
that,
are you?
stop telling people you're that." Because when I'm legit 6'7", 6'8". When we're face to face, you can tell.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I end up people saying, "Work with him, work with him, work with him." He's not ready yet, and I can tell just based off of a half of a conversation, he's not ready yet. I'm not gonna bother with it. I left it alone, and then 2019 going into 20, pandemic hits, and I get a call from Marco. Go work with Towers. Sure, why not? I'll think about it. Then I get a call from Huck. I got a 7-footer out here in Alabama. He needs somebody to work with. He's had a few things with Logan, but he needs somebody that's going to be able to consistently work with him. Then Joe was like, "Yo, we got a 7-footer. He's got all the potential in the world. Come work with him." So it's like, okay, like if you got some of these guys some of these vets that are respected saying, "Come work with you. Let me check you out." Check them out. Okay, you can see it. He's uncomfortable. He doesn't know how to work with his height. He's uncomfortable, but you can see in his face he wants it. All right, cool. I went to Alabama. To work with him, work with it. We had our first match, and literally in that match, I talked him through that entire match.
Now, is that a good
From
thing?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
And the reason why I'll say it this way, the reason why it was a good thing is because it he has to be shown how to be the bigger man in the ring.
Okay.
He this is a knock, but not he's an A4 student.
Okay.
And A4 guys, no matter what size they are turned into spot monkeys.
Oh.
And that's my take on it.
Okay.
I don't really care how people feel about it. That's
Yeah.
my take on it. I've
Yeah,
been here long enough, and I've seen several different classes come out, and it's always the exact same thing. Everybody's a spot monkey.
Mm-hmm.
So he had to be. I had to coach him through it. Like, no, we're in there, we're locking up, and he's trying. Stand up, show them that you're the taller man. Show them. And I coached him through it. We got through the match. It worked out. And he was like, "I appreciate you." I said, "All right, I'll be back. Yeah, I'll be back in another week. We gonna do this again. We're gonna do this until you show me that you're here, that you've arrived. Forget everybody else out there. They're gonna love you because you're tall and you're in here with me. You gotta show me. You gotta show me that you want it. Show me that because I know this is not to be cocky, but I know what the power of the word of a Jeter means, especially to big man wrestling in Georgia and to an extent the Southeast. So work with him, and it's about a year long thing. We went from Alabama, Georgia. We wrestled in Tennessee, different promotions, and by the time we were done, one of my most proudest moments in wrestling was Southern Violence. We went up in Athens, and they came in. They were like, "We need you to wrestle Towers." We've done this for a year. I know how it goes. Rock'em Sock'em Robots. We give it to them. But after the match, we're there, and he has to cut his promo. He has to cut his promo for his turn. and he's cutting his promo, and there's a confidence that no one had heard. I hadn't heard, and you can hear it in his voice. And I'm like, all right, baby boy, you here? So that was cool.
Damn, you all right, Izzy?
I'll
right. But man, that's good that you coach, and he was coachable. I like that he was coachable, and you taught him how to be big. There's a lot of men out there that are like big that make themselves small.
Almost.
Character. Oh God,
Ishmael.
That dude's terrible.
Thank you.
I said this last week. When he gonna come out with the P code again. I'm telling you, come out the P code. He gonna come out there, slam somebody.
He is terrible.
But this is what I say. He's terrible from a work rate standpoint.
Yes.
But he works well within the WWE system.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
If you look at the history of WWE and their big man, with the very first one being Andre, and the reason why that style, because Andre was, by the time he got WWE, his body was done.
He was old.
But they took that.
Yeah.
They took that blueprint and they've put it on every big man that they've had.
Hell,
and
even
for the most part, it has worked.
Hell, even Andre in the 70s, he was more of an attraction back then, as compared to when he came up through the 80s, where he was done. He really was done in the 80s.
Yeah.
What do you think about Giant Gonzalez was fucking hard?
Oh my God, his knees killed him.
Oh my God.
Well, Giant Gonzalez, he suffered from being too damn tall.
Yes.
He suffered from being too tall. Kali, that's another dude.
Yeah.
That WWE style. But by the time he got WWE, his knees were gone. I've seen stuff from him in Japan. That dude was way more athletic than he put on in WWE.
Yeah, Kali barely can walk in the WWE. He was walking like he had a board stuck up his ass.
Hell, Big Show, when he first started, he was doing drop kicks and all sorts of shit.
Yep.
Yeah, but again, that WWE, but with guys who are with bigger guys, the WWE style works because it prolongs the career. If Taker hadn't worked the WWE style of wrestling the first 15 to 20 years of his career, he wouldn't have been able to have all those great matches he had in that, we'll say, the 2004 to 2010 run. His body would have been shot. And then you saw what happened. He had all those great matches.
Yep.
And then by 2010, he was done physically.
Oh, yeah.
So the style, I understand why they have the style. I understand why it works the way it works. But I also understand why a guy like Keith Lee, for as good as he is, won't work there, because Keith Lee's style does not, as much as they're giving them more freedom, but Keith Lee's style just will not work in that space.
I love them in NXT though.
I think
loved him in NXT because they made him big when he came to,
because Uncle Trips knew what he was doing.
Yep.
When he came to the main roster, it's like, shit. And then when they stuck that Bearcat shit on him, I'm like,
Okay, Keith Lee. Triple H, this is what I say. NXT, Triple H, however you want to look at it, they knew how to dial him back just enough, but allow him to be what got him to the dance.
Yes, sir.
They didn't completely obliterate what got him there, the fan base, alienate the fan base he had, trying to integrate him into their fan base. The problem with being on the main roster is
say it.
Vince.
Thank you.
Vince has a certain way that he sees his product. Vince has a certain way that he wants to present his product. And no matter what goes on, he wants to stuff everybody into this box. Well, the problem with that is Vince got more and more rigid the older he got. Because if you look at it like this, Macho Man wrestled the WWE style. Hogan wrestled the WWE style. Warrior wrestled the WWE style. All those guys wrestled that style, but they wrestled it their way. Shawn wrestled the WWE style, but he wrestled it as Shawn Michaels. It's the same thing with Britt. Same thing with Benoit. Anybody. But the older Vince guy, the more rigid he got, the more set in his ways he got, the more restrictions he put on his guys.
Oh, I'm still thinking about when they Karrion Kross joined the main roster.
Demolition wannabe. Oh God.
It was give us Sparta.
Yeah, it's just with Keith Lee. It's like that was so much potential there that like could have been a big star because people loved him from NXT. All he had to do was not touch it. Vince didn't have to touch nothing. He didn't have to touch it.
What y'all also got to understand is NXT. They weren't on the road 200 plus days a year. The main roster is.
Yeah.
Yes.
The main roster is. So Keith Lee, with the style that he works, wouldn't go, because we'll put it this way: if you look at Keith Lee, you can draw the line between Samoa Joe and the Keith Lee. You see what happened to Joe working at the main roster with his style.
Breaking down.
You see what I'm saying?
He broke down. Yeah.
Very, very quick. And it's not like, and the thing that's funny about it is if you look at Joe in TNA, it's not like Joe was taking a lot of dates outside of TNA when he was contracted TNA for those 10 years. He wasn't taking a lot of outside dates. He would go do shows in Japan, but you didn't see him on independence like you saw Danielson killing himself. So you look at Joe's style with a 300-day schedule. Yeah, you're gonna kill yourself eventually, and then you start seeing him slowly break down. Concussion. He can't stay healthy. Every time he turns around, something's wrong.
Age always wins.
Leg, arm, something. And he's out for long periods of time too.
But
time always wins.
It's not. But his thing, it's not even just Father Time. Look at Kyle O'Reilly. Kyle O'Reilly can't stay healthy to save his life now.
That's a damn shame too. With him,
like he out. He hurt.
He can't stay healthy to save his life. You look at Bobby Fish, the exact same thing.
Adam Cole. We could say his name too.
Bobby Fish. Out of everybody.
I don't know about Cole.
Everybody. It was Bobby Fish. He was always like hurt. You turn around, he hurt.
Because he always throwing them kicks.
Now, what I will say is this. Granted, he is the oldest person that was in whatever the group name was, but still though, he's
40-something, man.
It's that style. Like I always tell people like this: American wrestlers doing strong style that have not trained in Japan is a recipe for disaster. Ooh. And everybody look at me like I'm crazy. Okay.
That's an interesting take.
Here we go. Name an American wrestler that wrestles for New Japan that was trained by New Japan.
Okay, can I throw Brian Danielson, because you can see he definitely trained in Japan.
Yeah, he trained in Japan, but he didn't train. He didn't initially train New Japan strong style.
Okay.
And the reason why I say that is this. You look at the Japanese guys, you look at the Great Muta, you look at God dang it, I can't think of his name. Okay, you look at Muta, Yuji Nagata, Okada, look at Tanahashi, look at up until Shibata knocked himself brain dead, Shibata. Shinsuke Nakamura. Look at Kenta. All those guys work that strong style.
Ishii.
But they trained into
it. But all of them are healthy.
Yeah.
Thank God.
True. So we never heard Shinsuke getting hurt.
No.
The first, outside of Misawa killing himself in the ring, the last person major star you saw get hurt in Japan was Shibata when he hit Okada.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? But if you look at American guys who wrestle that style, my opinion, who wrestle that style and go in there and want to try and destroy each other, it never works out for them physically.
CM Punk. Oh, sorry. Oh.
CM Punk does not wrestle strong style.
No, I'm about to say he does not.
No, but he tries to. He does try to.
He tries everything.
He tried. CM Punk tries to be up with the times, and he throws little things in here, little things in there to keep himself up with the times. But as far as the overall strong style, does not work.
I definitely agree with that.
But you look at Danielson.
Mm-hmm.
Danielson had a full almost 5 years off from working the style that he worked from concussions.
Mm-hmm.
When was the last? I will say this: while we may not get all the injury reports out of New Japan, when was the last out of Japan? Period. When was the last time you heard of a wrestler being sit out for a couple of years for concussions?
Doesn't happen at all.
You know, you had Danielson, you got, like I said, Kyle O'Reilly, you got Bobby Fish, you have Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe.
Christian.
Now, see, with Christian, that was an amalgamation of just years on that WWE schedule. But I'm speaking specifically to guys who want to work that New Japan strong style.
Oh,
okay.
So I'm speaking to that specifically. But look at that list of guys that you've named. All of them. O'Reilly's barely 35, if that.
He's on the age with me. So I'm about to be 35.
He's not that old. O'Reilly's not that old.
Matter of fact, Cal should be getting ready to turn 30 because he's like a year younger than me. He's about a year younger than me, so he's getting ready to turn 35. But he's hurt. Bobby Fish, hurt.
He's 35.
There you go.
35.
Samoa Joe. We had to take off a year or so because he couldn't stay healthy. And while we love that style, we love what it looks like, it just doesn't work well without that proper training. One of the best matches I've ever seen was Kobashi versus Joe. And the reason why you got to see strong style / King's Road in its proper form. And it worked. It wasn't a bunch of crazy, unnecessary dives. It wasn't a bunch of unnecessary head blows. You got to see two dudes work that style. One, a master of that style, and a dude who was making his name to be a master of that style, and it worked. But that's just my personal take on it.
No,
absolutely.
Absolutely.
Well, I can see where you're coming from with that. And maybe they need to go master that style before using it, because
I'm gonna need him to sit down. Why are you talking about Impact? Sit down, sir.
I'm just saying you can't do strong style 300 days a year though. That's just.
I mean,
the body is gonna break down.
Mm-hmm.
I say it this way: you can do it on a long-term basis as long as you know what you're doing. Because you look, like I said, you look at the guys like you look at Great Muta. He's going on 30-some years in the ring. He's just not
over 30 years in the business.
You look at you got guys like Jun Akiyama.
Look at that, Jushin Liger.
I was about to say, look at Liger. Was there all the time?
You got Suzuki. You got Ishii. You got guys who've been doing this style for years that you don't necessarily see hurt. Left, right, left. Every time you turn around, he's out. He's hurt.
I'm thinking I never saw Tajiri ever get hurt either.
No,
exactly.
Never saw Tajiri got hurt. I thought he killed himself a couple times.
Okay, good case in point. Good case in point to my point about Americans doing that style. Undertaker. The moment he started trying to wrestle like he was in New Japan was the moment he started hurting himself every year. And again, I'm an Undertaker guy. Undertaker the wrestler, I love the man to death, but we're going to be honest.
Absolutely.
The moment he started trying to have these uber physical matches on the level that you saw in New Japan and TNA, you start seeing him hurt. He's out 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's out 6 months. So it's like, it's checks and balance. We get it. WrestleMania, that's your show. We understand. Nobody ever doubted. WrestleMania was the Undertaker show. I don't care what they call Shawn Michaels. I don't care what they do. Anybody and everybody went to WrestleMania for one thing. You wanted to see the Undertaker defend the streak, and then behind him, you wanted to see who was supposed to be the main event. And every now and again, they'll throw a special match in there, like Kurt and Shawn, or Eddie or a special match that everybody wants to see. But everybody went to Mania Undertaker.
I'm just mad that the streak had to end in my hometown. I'm just mad it had to end in New Orleans. I'm like, God damn it.
I mean, okay, let's be honest. If you're gonna end it, what better place to take it to die?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Like when it happened, everybody got quiet. It was like
the streak had fun before it ended.
Here's the funny thing with that is he was trying to get rid of that streak damn near a decade before it did.
Gone.
Yeah,
I would really give it to somebody else besides Brock. Like he didn't need it.
Okay. I will give you that. Brock didn't need it. Here's the logical thing with WWE, and I understand it as much as I hate it. Brock didn't need it, but who could they have given it to? And
nobody of worth. Let's be honest.
Nope, that's where you're wrong. It wasn't Reigns. Reigns wasn't there. That the guy that y'all need to give it to was Bray Wyatt.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Hold on, which Bray Wyatt though? The buzzard or the Phoenix?
No, we're talking about the buzzard one.
The buzzard.
We ain't talking about the living dead zombie dog guy.
No, the buzzard.
We talking about the buzzard one. The cult leader Bray.
Yes.
That would have strapped a rocket to his back.
Yes, it would have. Like you had the next dude, who could have been there. I said, and then think about it is the way they played that whole thing was just it was. There's no way that he should have lost twice to two different dudes.
Right.
If he was gonna lose twice, it should have been to the same dude, which Bray Wyatt has always been my pick. And everybody always say why. I said, okay, you have Wyatt beat him, and then have Wyatt just taunt the I did. Come back around. Come back around. However you get the mania, and have him beat it, and that cements it completely. This is our new guy.
That's the new Undertaker guy, the new supernatural guy.
But
you ain't got to look at him as the new supernatural guy, but he just becomes that new guy.
The guy.
He's a guy in the wheel. Like we know that we can, if we need to, we can count on him to do whatever he needs to do. Which if you look at it, that's the role the Undertaker he always played. If we need somebody, it don't matter if it's to put somebody over. It don't matter if it's to put a championship on them. It don't matter if it's to advance a story. We know that we got Undertaker here for that.
And
you could have put
so many fans, bro. Like
and
I was there with the Fireflies and all that.
Yes.
He was that dude. He was the dude.
I'm just saying the stories that the two of them would have told would have been beautiful.
Yes. Now just imagine this: WrestleMania 30, New Orleans, and you got Bray Wyatt out there with the presentation that he had at the time.
Woo!
That's tough.
He's out there. The coat.
His character from the Bayou, so that's his land. This is his land.
That would have been money.
In his hands, he's got the whole world.
New Orleans messed with Bray hard because it's like that lore we have over New Orleans is what he do. So they would have went nuts.
You got him. Imagine the entrance though. He comes.
Fire.
You got the whole world, and then you mess around. He comes out with a second line.
Oh shit!
In a second line in New Orleans with a gimmick that's tied to the lore of New Orleans. They would have had an adverse reaction because nobody wanted to see Undertaker lose the streak, but it wouldn't have been as bad as it was.
Yeah, I would have been like a little ass kid.
I think people would have cheered. I think the New Orleans people would have cheered. Cause it like when I remember Bray was down here, they came down here a few times. I caught a couple of Raws and SmackDowns. They were going crazy for Bray. Yeah, people were singing, "We got the whole world." Everybody was going nuts for Bray Wyatt.
I mean,
And
that was a gimmick that tapped into a real reality for a lot of people. A lot of people are into secular forms of worship, if you will, however you want to put it. A lot of people, as culture, like if you got any type of Caribbean roots, you know about that. However, you know about it, whether you're into hoodoo, whether you're into voodoo, whether you're into sangria, and however, I keep pronouncing it wrong.
Santeria.
There you go.
Santeria.
Whether you into that, like there
we
was
got a
a
whole
audience that was
voodoo
there.
museum down here, so it's like that would have worked.
Yep,
it would have worked, and it's like Vince.
Drop the ball.
No, Vince fumbled that part. He fumbled
it. For Brock Lesnar, that's why people were shocked. Like, why?
That part, I think.
A lot of people were like, why?
Okay, Mo, you said you was there at WrestleMania, right? From what I heard, people were leaving. Is that true?
Yes.
Yeah, people were
wow.
leaving. I know. I was watching that.
People like, fuck this shit.
I mean,
I saw that with my son, and when Taker lost, even I said, "Fuck this."
Man,
so I did it.
I watched it and I was crying on the couch.
Listen, LaLa, people were screaming, "This is fucking bullshit." They was going home.
I can imagine.
I mean, that moment proved exactly what pro wrestling is. It hit the emotions of people and tugged on the emotions of people.
Yeah,
that's all. When you look at the outtake, everything, take the wrestling out. That's all pro wrestling is, and that was one moment in wrestling in the WWE where it hit the target. It did what it was supposed to do. The execution to get in there was terrible.
Yes, it was.
I think we all want a good story. That's all. Give me a story where I can invest my time and just my time, and I want to look. What's up, Daryl?
What's up, Daryl? Well, man, it was like a gut punch almost. It was just like, what the fuck? That's what people. This was like. It was like a what the fuck moment. Like, no, this shit didn't happen. That's what.
Paul Heyman was shocked his damn self. He was like,
man, we was expecting, Undertaker gonna kick out. I'm like, wait, he didn't kick out.
It got quiet. It got quiet after the ref said 3. It was quiet.
Maybe it was a mistake. That's what people was thinking. Well, maybe it's a mistake. And then when they put the graphic up,
I was on the couch crying in the living room. My mom came downstairs. She came downstairs because this is when I was living at this house in this townhome in Colorado. She was upstairs. I was in the living room watching it, and I'm crying. And she realized it was too quiet. She's like, "LaShawn, are you okay?" I said, "No." And I just pointed to the TV. And I just started crying.
That
was Listen. 12-year-old Jeter had a fit. He did not like it. 12-year-old Jeter just was, oh, this is bull. Now, grown man Jeter was like, I expected it, and if he had won, I would have called BS on it. Because there is no way you got this dude. Again, I love Taker to death, but there is no way that you have this dude who, with the way he's being physical, there's no way he comes in here and whoops Brock.
Yeah. Pretty
so
much.
I'm like, if he wins, if Brock don't win, I'm calling BS. Y'all just want to keep the streak alive as a money draw. Let that man retire.
Yeah, I just wish it was somebody else that ended the streak. I don't mind Brock beating him, but let somebody else end that streak. Then Roman beat him again. Then it was just like, it's anticlimactic.
The only thing Roman inherited from the Undertaker was the slow walk. The end.
I mean, that was the longest.
That's what he inherited. Was the
in
slow
history
walk.
in Orlando.
This is what he. I agree with you, LaLa, but he inherited a couple more things. He inherited the slow walk. He inherited the "this is my yard," and he finally got the torch that says, "I'm the man." As funny as it is, everybody thinks because he beat Brock. No, he got that when he beat Undertaker.
Yeah.
True. Yes.
Because Undertaker made him in that sense.
Yes, he did.
Because I still remember the promo he cut the night after that shit. He didn't say nothing. He didn't say nothing.
Everybody was booing.
He was getting booed.
That boy
This
said,
is my
"This is my
yard
yard
now.
now." That's all he said. But that was one of his most powerful promos he done because of, like you say, the reaction. People were booing, cursing. They were just.
See, they threw us off when they put John Cena against Roman. So at that time, because remember, a lot of people didn't like John Cena either. So they did not know who to boo for. They did not know who to cheer for.
I just think people like John Cena. They just didn't like that he was shoved down our fucking throats. And that was two people that were shoved down our throats.
I like it, John Cena.
And you just like John Cena because he's a bag of muscles.
No, it's not that.
I'm saying Dr. Thugonomics John Cena, yeah. That's
I like
dude.
him, and I like the one that was it the now John Cena
Super Cena. Nah.
Yeah, I like them both.
This is what I'll say about John. While John tailored himself to children,
he loves the kids.
I'm sure. while John tailored himself to children, nobody outworked John because John was not their pick.
He sure wasn't.
No.
Their picks were Batista, Orton, and Lesnar.
Yeah.
Lesnar got it. Lesnar figured out, I'm not built for this. Orton wasn't ready, and neither was Batista. And John outworked everybody. That's the reason why John stayed on top as long as he did. And once he got on top, he found his niche. He found out, I can sell T-shirts. And more importantly, I can be, quote unquote, a role model.
Like it or not, yes.
Even though I like movie star John Cena better. Because like that, like his personality now.
Speaking of movie star John Cena, let's go back. There was an interview he did, and he was talking cash money shit about The Rock. That's how their feud started, because it went off of that. Now we fast forward, we see John Cena in the movies, in the TV screens, doing the commercials and everything like that. Man's had to eat his own words now. He has to eat his own words.
Who's gonna turn down that money, man? Who's gonna turn down?
Exactly.
But at the same time, I'm just saying he has to eat his own words. You can't just say, well, you can't come here and then leave to Hollywood. Just stay where you at, and then all of a sudden you get the deal, you get the money, you get the perks. You like, oh, I like this now.
But think about it. If John Cena stayed, would he still be on top? People have been turning on his ass like they've been doing.
No, because I think he was getting hurt too, right? He was getting hurt too.
You kept getting hurt.
And then I think what happened was, and I could call me crazy or not, John Cena and The Rock took notes. You gotta think about it. These men gotta go to every WWE Hall of Fame. They see how the wrestlers are when the Hall of Famers are. They washed up. They don't look too good. They worn out. So they really know. They think in their fucking head, oh, I ain't gonna try to be here that long. I'm good.
And good for them for doing it.
Yeah, we gotta find another way out.
You can't do that for 30, 40 years like Ric Flair. You see Ric Flair, man.
Okay.
You see fucking Ric Flair, man. You see Ric Flair.
Okay, let's look at it this way, right?
Oh, boy.
Wow. You can do this 30, 40 years. Again, look at the Great Muta.
Yeah.
He ain't limping. At some gun, 60 some odd years old, still doing moonsaults. But
missed.
But it's all in the preservation of it's all in how you do it, the preservation of your body. The thing with Rock never loved wrestling. He grew a love for wrestling, but he never loved wrestling. And part of me would say the same about Cena. He never loved wrestling. He grew a love for wrestling. And so when opportunities came, they got out. A perfect example is when Hollywood came knocking for The Rock, they came knocking for Triple H as well. Because back in the day, Triple H was a good looking dude.
Yep.
By a lot of standards.
But he did the chaperone and that was it.
Yeah.
Blade Trinity.
Blade Trinity.
No, he was good in Blade.
But things that he didn't get that much parts because he couldn't throw his weight around like that. Wesley Snipes ain't
And then
gonna
the
go for that.
Chaperone, my God, that killed his acting career.
I mean,
Chaperone finished him.
Chaperone killed his acting career.
Y'all gotta excuse me. I'm in the office right now. I don't know what the hell this is.
Oh, trust me, that happens all the time. So.
Not them try to do a fire drill so you can clock out early.
Nah, it's this thing will be beeping for a couple of minutes.
Oh,
So bear with
No
me.
worries.
If it doesn't clear up, I'll just move to a different location so we have to listen.
Man, he's fine. It's
You
not.
No worries, brother.
You're good.
And as far as and same thing with Cena, Hollywood came knocking, and what he realized is while he would love to wrestle a lot more than he does, Hollywood studios are not going to allow that. They're like the NFL.
No.
The NFL has gotten to a point where you cannot drive this car, you cannot do this, you cannot ride this bike. You are insured to this contract, to this studio for however long your contract is.
Mhm.
That's the reason why you have Rock got into a lot of trouble behind him, splitting his pelvis muscle, the abductor muscle off his pelvis in 2011. That's one of the main reasons why he hasn't been back to actually wrestle.
Yeah, he messed up his abdominals against Cena at WrestleMania.
Was it the first one or the second one?
The second one.
Second one.
The second one? Okay. Oh.
And then that's why he had that 5-second match with Eric Rowan.
Eric Rowan.
Oh.
Like a 5 or 6 second match. It was like a rock bottom.
That's when John Cena did
rock bottom
all the
pin. That's it. Yeah.
Oof.
Okay, here's the question for y'all. Who do y'all believe is the biggest star that WWE has ever produced?
Ooh.
Right now?
Nah. Okay.
No, just in general.
Of all time?
Yep.
Yeah.
We're gonna split it in two categories.
Okay.
We know the answer outside of wrestling, but in wrestling.
In wrestling.
Ooh. In wrestling.
Oh, in wrestling. Okay, we know outside of wrestling, we know who it is. But
yes. It's Dwayne.
In wrestling. I'm caught between two. I ain't caught between two. I'm caught, and I hate one of them.
Hogan.
Is it Goldberg?
Hogan's one.
Hogan and Austin to me. It's either one out of them two because Austin had everybody said Austin 316, throwing the middle fingers, stunnering people in class. Everybody had a smoking skull shirt or something growing up.
I did.
Hogan in the 80s, man. Hulkamania was so big in the 80s. That shit.
But you can make the argument without Hogan, you don't have no Stone Cold. Yeah. You can make the argument about that.
That was pretty fucking big. Hulkamania was pretty fucking big, though. It was,
absolutely.
It was big.
I don't know. And the reason why I say that is because you had San Martino.
Mm-hmm. Then remember, at that time, he was Northeast. He was New York, Boston, D.C., but at that time, that was it.
True. But when you say WWE or WWF, as they called it then, he was that guy. So if you got, I always argue people, he was more than the Northeast. And the reason why I say that because you got installations of Italian wrestling fans all across this country.
I can't dispute that. They loved him. They loved him.
The difference between a Hogan, a Stone Cold, a Rock, a Cena, and a Reigns is the WWF were not traveling outside of their territory. Correct. But San Martino had Italian fans everywhere.
Plus, San Martino in his prime had a physique. He was compared to Mr. Olympia. He was all in them type of competitions. And Bruno had that charisma about him. That look at how many times he sold out Madison Square Garden. Look at the times he sold out Boston Garden, Philly, the Spectrum, etc., etc. That was all San Martino.
I'll go a step further.
Okay.
While we can look at how much how he sold out the arenas, I've heard stories from my uncles who lived in New York in the 80s, and they would tell about how if Bruno lost, it'd be damn near riots.
If Bruno
Buying
would
arena.
ever to lose,
I
and
believe
I'm
that.
going to the 70s in Madison Square Garden in the 70s, they would be a riot. That's how much that man was so over. He was
Put it
so
this way, that's
over.
not like the junkyard dog in New Orleans. Shit.
Yeah.
There we
They
go.
pulled the fucking gun when junkyard dog got jumped. Somebody jumped the barricade, had a gun to say, "Man, I got you, junkyard."
You know, it's like Eric Colon in Puerto Rico.
Yes,
Yeah.
Carlos.
Yup.
Yes.
That's Cologne.
You know, it's like that's the only real difference between between San Martino and everyone that came after him. Everyone that came after him were able to travel. Had the WWF travel, you could put him up there with a Hogan. You could put him up there with a Cena. You can put him up there with a Stone Cold, a Rock.
But that being said, if you're going to do a Mount Rushmore of the WWE, San Martino has to be on it.
He has to be
Yeah.
on it. He's the longest reigning champion. One.
Mm-hmm.
Like that would never be repeated.
Yeah.
No.
It won't.
No, that'll never happen.
That would never happen because, first of all, wrestling fans today are too fickle.
Got that right. Pick up.
One. But it will be hard to imagine somebody. How many years he did it for? What it was like?
7 years.
Remember,
7
he had
years?
two. He had two reigns, if you will. His first reign was, I want to say, it was 7 or 8 years.
Yeah, it was like 7 years.
And then he had another reign of 3 years.
And they can't do
10
that.
years
Through,
as champion,
they can't do that through Roman because Roman looking to like.
Roman, he's looking at the end, but he's looking at the end.
I'm just saying he can't do 7 years in this climate because people gonna be like, why are you trying to just just shove them down our throats? Why can't he?
The difference in why they wouldn't be able to do that to now has nothing to do with why you're trying to shove them down our throats. Yes and no. I'll say it this way: the real difference is when Vince decided to try and destroy kayfabe. Kayfabe played a lot in San Martino holding that belt as long as he did.
Yeah.
Kayfabe played a lot in. Kayfabe played so much in the success of the business that when Vince tried to destroy it and it jumped, you see the massive downslide of it, and they're struggling to try and get it back up. Yeah, great. They're making more money now than they've ever made. Wrestlers are becoming multi-millionaires off of pro wrestling. The ones who make it, but at what cost? In 10 years, will pro wrestling even be around?
Ooh.
I hope so.
I hope so. For this show's sake, I hope so.
I hope so.
The preservation
proper
of it.
booking and people being used properly.
I mean, you can book people and use people properly all day, but if you don't have that lore, that blinding lore of kayfabe,
the thing about it,
if you don't have it means nothing. And the reason why I'm saying this is this: think about all the best moments you've ever had, you've ever thought about the moments. We're not talking about the matches. Screw the matches, because the matches mean nothing right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Every moment that you can think of. Why do you love Hogan?
I hate Hogan, so I'm out of this conversation.
Wait. I'm gonna ask you the same question. Why does everybody love Hogan? Because of the moments.
Yeah,
he made you feel something.
Hogan Andre, WrestleMania 3, enough said.
The
moment, not the match, the moment.
We'll take it a step further.
Okay.
We'll take it a step further. Even in the things that people remember about Hogan, it's moments. It's not necessarily a match. It's brother.
Take your milk, take your vitamin.
We ain't got to go that far. You go, what you gonna do, brother? Exactly. Everybody knows that. It's just the same thing with Flair. Nobody cares. Everybody said, "Oh, boy, Flair, he wrestled this, he wrestled that, he this, that." Okay, that's cool. But you ask people what they know about Flair.
Woo!
60 man.
Limousine riding, jet flying, kid stealing, willing
Wheeling,
dealing.
dealing, son of a gun.
Baby, I'm having a hard time holding these 800 alligators down.
Saying,
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? It's the same thing with Rock. It's with Rock. People, he's had great matches, but what do they remember? A fucking eyebrow.
If you smell,
La 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 la.
They remember him smell. They remember him smelling what the Rock was cooking. They remember the theatrics,
yeah,
the
pie,
people's elbow,
easy big fella.
the people's freaking elbow. Nobody cared. That move is trash. But you know what they remember? Him throwing a freaking elbow pad and doing this, and then coming back by.
He still had the smoothest one when he was in the penny loafers.
Oh, he was in that.
Yes.
You think that shit in the dress shoes?
That was against Davey Boy Smith.
It was like,
he hit that bit. I'm like, damn, that bit was cold right there.
You know what I'm saying? Same thing.
Often too. You just remember the middle fingers, him hitting Mixer McMahon in the head with a bedpan, stunners,
sticking Vince up his ass.
The stunners. Well, you know what? I'll tell you this. Stone Cold is going to walk in WrestleMania. He's going to stand in the middle of his ring. He's going to open up a can of whoop ass. And if you like that, give me a hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Oh, my favorite is still going on. What? I'm going to give me a beer. What? 2 beers. What? 3 beers. What?
Why everybody? A great example of this is why everybody loved Undertaker, Kane, Mick Foley. Why everybody loves them and love all the gory things they did in matches. Everybody remembers Kane for what?
Fire.
Boom.
Oh, that's gotta be Kane.
Gotta be Kane.
You know what I'm saying? Mick Foley, have a nice day, and a freaking sock on his hand.
And the fact that he flew off the hell himself.
And him falling off the cage. And JR saying, "Oh my God."
They killed him.
But that's a moment though.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, definitely.
That's a moment. Yeah. Undertaker rolling his eyes out, tell you rest in peace, putting a stripe across his windpipe and shitting up in the middle. That's what people remember. That's the stuff that freaked you out as a kid. So it's just like it's the moment.
Stone Cold beating up.
Yes.
The bedpan McMahon.
Now, with that being said, I say all that to say this. Kayfabe is what made those moments special because you really believe that Stone Cold was whipping on his boss, something that every adult in America wanted to do.
I'll say this for me, kayfabe died when I know y'all may remember this when the Iron Sheik and Hacksaw Jim Duggan were arrested for marijuana possession in a car. That for me, kayfabe died.
It was still kind of around then. It really took a hit when the Clique got together in the ring. It took a hit when
that's when Kevin Nash and Scott Hall.
Yeah, when they did that hug,
they were ring,
Vince almost shitted a brick because it was still around after the Hacksaw thing. That was the first instance.
For me, I'm just saying. For me, dead.
I'm just saying it was still kind of around because that was pre-internet. You know, internet ruined a lot of shit.
Yes.
Yeah, right now it's ruining everything. Like it's not no surprise no more.
That's what sucks.
I don't want to know who's returning. This
exactly. I don't want to see the spoilers. No, let me be surprised.
Like hush.
And then now you're starting to see all the people who's supposed to be feuding with each other, hanging out with each other in personal pictures and shit. It's like it's ruining it. It's like we know y'all really don't hate each other.
That's why I say the best heel going today is probably MJF.
Oh yeah,
yes.
No question.
Oh,
and if it's not MJF, it's a tie between MJF and the Miz, and if it's not the two of them, it's Roman Reigns.
Miz out here getting kidnapped.
Well, I'm just saying, I'm loving that the Miz getting kidnapped right now.
Whatever.
That shit is funny. But Roman Reigns is getting better. I'm like I like Roman Reigns when like I said, we call him infomercial Roman when he was psycho, when he beat up Kevin Owens and cut a whole infomercial talking about,
Yes.
I feed your family and shit. Like, I'm like, damn, this dude motherfucking crazy.
Like, he's
You
really
know what it
fucking
is?
camera.
With Reigns, they stopped trying to force him to be what he wasn't.
Yeah.
That's the only real difference. Even when they were trying to make him into hug your babies, kiss, they're trying to make him into the next Rock Hogan. They took the reins, if you will, off of him. He always, even as a face, he always came off as an a-hole.
Yeah.
Yes.
He always had that arrogance behind him, and it's like just let him be who he is, and he's gonna explode. It was the same thing with Rock. Rock, it was trying to make Rock. It took the handles off Rock. Let Rock be the asshole that he is.
Hollywood Rock, baby, yeah.
I mean, the Rock went to the U. You got to be an asshole to be a football player at the U. Because at that time, they were assholes. So you know the Rock was a big asshole. So let it be him.
I mean, once you let people interject a piece of them into what they're doing, and it's something that they can relate to on a personal level for themselves, it works. It's just like everybody. CM Punk been an asshole. He was an asshole in if you will. He was a hole in when he was in ROH. He was an a-hole when he was in NXT. He was an a-hole in WWE. So why is everybody surprised he's an a-hole in AEW?
Exactly.
He's been an a-hole.
Okay.
And Triple H, can we admit that Triple H was fucking right in that promo? He was fucking right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like somebody put Triple H warned us. Okay.
You know what?
He was warning us about that shit.
I won't say that Triple H was right, and the reason why I won't say that is because I look at it this way. While he made good points, when they went to Philly, I forget what pay-per-view that was, but they went to Philly, and it was Punk, DX, and one more person.
Survivor Series.
May have been Team DX versus Team whoever.
Yes, and it was RKO.
There you go.
Yeah, on the status. And it was in Philly. So there you go.
You're in Philly, the home of Ring of Honor. You got 17, 18,000 people in here. And they introduce y'all, okay, yeah, DX. They introduce whoever the fourth man was or however it was. Yeah. And then CM Punk comes out before any of them as the rookie on the team, and the freaking arena exploded.
Yes.
And it's like Triple H, you can say what you want to say, but y'all I've seen that several different times. You can say what you want to say, but he's getting the reaction that y'all want. The problem that y'all have with Punk is he's just not going to lay down and take it up the way y'all want him to.
Once again, my problem with Punk is saying that, and they all know this, that you're the best in the world, and like, dude, no, you're not. No, you're not.
I mean, it's the gimmick.
Yeah, I think Punk says that to get under your skin.
He does.
I mean, but it's the gimmick. It's like Jericho was saying, I'm the best in the world. And he hasn't been the best in the world for at least 3 years. It's the gimmick.
Jericho with the arm bar. I got a man of 1,000 hoes. Arm bar. Hole number 76. Arm bar. Jericho had a lot of gimmicks, though. He had the lips, drinking in, man, a little bit of the bubbly. So Jericho had a lot of gimmicks.
I mean, like I said, as far as Punk goes, that's just the gimmick. I'm the best in the world. And at one point, when he starts, at one point he proved it. But once you start the gimmick, you got to keep the gimmick going. You know. So and then Jericho, Jesus Christ.
Once when Punk started all that wine,
that dude can reinvent himself at the drop of a hat.
Yes, he can.
You just made the list.
Like
first you look at it, you be like, wait, what? And then it start catching on, and you be like, oh shit. Shit funny.
Yeah. It's something as simple as a clipboard and a pen. He turned into a 3-year gimmick.
A plant. A fucking plant.
I was doing that last year when I was blocking people. I was like, you know what? You just made a list. I was blocking.
So
I'm just saying, like, you know what he was about to do. Then he start clicking the pen before he said it. So you know what he about to do. So everybody start getting ready to hear him say the word. You just made the list.
Yeah. And you end up getting a good 3-year gimmick, 3-year angle that led to a pretty decent match between him and Owens on WrestleMania.
Yes, it did. Yes, it was.
So it works.
And, and he reinventing himself in AEW. So I gotta give him that. He reinvented himself a lot in AEW.
I'm not a fan of the Ocho. No. No, I'm not a fan of the Ocho.
What I've realized, what Jericho understands, he understands what he needs to be in order for that company to succeed. So he is to them what Terry Funk was to ECW.
You talking about except for minus the retirements, right? Just Terry
Funk. I mean,
a million times, man.
All that apart, but when they needed an established name to say, I believe in these guys.
Terry Funk, yes.
Terry Funk.
Terry Funk was that guy.
Himself, man.
Jericho is that guy for AEW. They can praise Omega and the Bucks all they want. Yeah, that's cool. But they don't have the credentials of a Chris Jericho.
No, they don't.
No, they do not.
No, they do not.
Jericho is the biggest star in that company, man.
He's a sports entertainer.
That's right.
Jericho is the biggest name in that company. I don't want the people telling me Moxley. I'm like, no. Jericho. Legitimate championships, like everywhere. Like he went everywhere and won a world title. Like, think about it. He won. He had the WCW when he was in WWE, so I count that. He didn't win a world title. Damn near everywhere he went.
This is what I see about Mox. Mox is to that company what Taz was to ECW.
And that is a very good comparison.
The badass of the company.
Yes, he's the guy he's the badass of that company. He's the guy that you can put in there with anybody. He's good on the mic. He's gonna give you a match, and if you need to, you can rely on him. That's all Taz was.
That's an excellent comparison.
That's all Taz was for ECW.
Yep.
So it's like they are that's the roles they play. They understand their roles and they roll with their roles. So it's you can't go wrong with those guys in the roles that they play. And you can't go wrong with them in the roles they play and them playing them well.
Yeah, it's it just AEW just got to clean themselves up though. I think they let
they need to hire a fucking HR person.
They got it's
getting too much double hip hop going on.
They need to hire an HR person.
They fighting in the back. The boys are fighting.
Okay, here you go.
It's just like the inmates can't run inside. You can't have that. We learned this from WCW 2000. You can't have the inmates running inside.
They're gonna be fighting somebody.
You need somebody.
That's it.
You need somebody unbiased to be running this shit.
And that is the reason why everybody can say what they want about Vince. But that he is the reason why WWE exceeded, because you hear people like, I got friends that work in WWE now as wrestlers. I got friends that work in WWE as refs. I got friends that work in WWE, period. We'll just leave it at that. And they all make it clear, when Vince was there, you knew who the head honcho was.
Most definitely.
You knew it.
Like, there's no ifs, ands, there's no this, there's no that. You can talk to Triple H about this, that, and the third, but Triple H wasn't going to overstep his bounds because everybody knew who the head honcho was.
Who the man was.
And that's the one thing that AWE does not have. Yeah, Tony Khan can say, "Oh, I'm the owner and this and that." He can say that.
That's on paper, but
and my point is, on paper it can say all that, but what has been clearly shown is that your locker room does not respect you in that position.
Nope.
Because you're a glorified fan. That's all the fuck it is. It's like if we're running a wrestling organization and we never step foot in the ring, y'all most likely won't get respect.
I mean,
Exactly.
here's the thing: Vince, up until the '90s, Vince never wrestled.
Yeah, but he was around that business though. You know, his daddy, it was in his blood.
Don't get it wrong. He was around his dad, his granddad. He was around the business, but Vince never stepped foot in the ring
Oh yeah,
until
he
the
did.
'90s.
Yeah.
Yep.
So beyond that, Vince just made it clear: this is my show. I'm the boss. We
End
can
of
be.
story.
He made it clear that I have a boss hat, I have a friend hat, I have a father figure hat. You're gonna understand what all three mean and understand that boss hat sits above all of it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because the thing is
It's
that
just
you didn't
like
hear that much of like any. Okay, you never heard that much of WWE issues in the background. How every week we never hear about it. AEW, we hearing about the first thing we heard about was the fight after what All In, All Out, whatever that was
yeah,
during the
that shit that
Scrum.
happened.
And if you
And
ask
the
me,
way Tony Khan found out about it was when Jericho was like, "Hey man, they fight in the back." Like he whispered that shit to him.
okay, we'll take it a step. We'll take it a step back for a second. Tony Khan sat right there and listened to CM Punk cut that promo.
Yes, you should have shut him up.
You
Should have
should
shut
have
If
him the fuck up.
that had been Vince, we're
Cut
gonna
it.
end this right now.
Yeah, cut it.
It would have
See,
ended right there, and it would
that's
have
what
been
I
on.
said. I said he let that shit go. It's like he
And
for the match.
it comes down to they need someone that's a head honcho. Tony Khan, I personally believe Tony Khan needs to be the guy who runs the business side of it, but he also needs someone that can run the wrestling side of it.
They had Cody. And
Yeah, well,
You
they
know,
had Cody and
they
Cody
had
left.
Cody. And after Cody gone, it went straight to shit.
there's that. So
Mhm.
Well, Cody saw a sinking ship and abandoned
So
ship before it happened.
you know what? I don't think he saw a sinking ship. I think Cody's move back to WWE was more about financial stability.
And
Not
there's
saying
nothing
that
wrong with that.
Not saying that he couldn't have. I believe I said this is my personal belief. Uh, he had Cody left WWE for a couple of reasons. One, he had to go out and figure out who he was as a performer. That's a. Two, he knew he had to rebuild his fan base because they destroyed his fan base in WWE.
That fucking Stardust shit.
Stardust.
oh
Was
my god.
entertaining as hell. I like Stardust,
It's in the stars.
but and more importantly, when he left WWE, he was in a financial spot to where he could take care of him and his wife. Now you fast forward 2.5 years or 2 years, however long it was. Now you have a baby on the way.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if any of you have children. Babies change everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, it goes from being okay, I could go out of town 3 times a year before this kid. Now I can't. You can't go out of town three times a year. You got to go. So the financial burden of being able to take care of Brandy and that new little one, I think was a real big component in him going back and saying, I need to go back and I need to prove. Now that I've proven to myself that I am what my father thought I am, what I thought my father thought I was, what
Mm-hmm.
some fans thought I was. I can go back and prove it here now.
Yep.
I think he will flourish under Triple H, man. I just think Cody has a base, and
Yeah,
Triple H is all about making money. Shit.
he is.
So if long as you know, the fans love Cody,
Yeah, they do.
Yep.
he going
They sing along to the song, even though sometimes it's not.
especially after he gutted it out with that torn pec.
Ooh.
And I don't know why
Ooh,
some people thought that shit was fake. I'm like, yeah, you must never seen
how?
the torn
See, those are uneducated people. Come on.
pec.
See that right? Him doing that garnered him a whole lot of WWE fans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you had Cody fans before he left WWE, but in that 1 or 2 year absence, you had a lot of people who weren't aware of him outside. That's the AEW guy. We're not even going to worry about him. Then on top of that, you go in there with a guy who they respect and Seth Rollins and still put on that performance. Okay, maybe there's more to this guy than what we believed it was there.
Yeah, and he did that shit one arm. I'm like that shit had to be painful.
And it's still considered the match of the year, man. That match
like,
was tremendous.
Big up to Seth Rollins though for being safe. Because that could have ended up really badly. Like,
yeah,
that shit was. He took that jacket off. I was like, ooh, they sure gonna go.
Everybody was like, ooh.
You're like, ooh.
I was like, oh.
Like you said, it's a moment that you'll never forget when he took off that jacket. You're like, oh shit.
I mean, sometimes you have to wrestle hurt sometimes you wrestle hurt just to do business, and sometimes you wrestle hurt to prove a point. As somebody who's wrestled hurt to prove a point before. Yeah. It's not fun, but you do it. And depending on how severe the injury is, sometimes it works out in your favor.
Yeah. And
I agree.
And I would think that'd be the one to dethrone Roman, like, and be okay. You'd be okay with it. I'll be okay with that.
Either him or Karrion Kross.
Or even
no.
I would be okay with Seth.
No,
I would be okay with Seth.
Hold on, speak.
Why?
No, speak on it.
Karrion Kross, no.
Why?
Mm-mm.
He doesn't dress like Sparta no more.
You're right. He doesn't dress like Sparta, but he's terrible.
Oh! I need to hear this. How, Sway?
What you mean, how? Have you not watched him wrestle before?
Yes. outside of WWE, and inside of WWE.
Okay, this is the best way to put it. He is I love dogs, right? And the best way to put it, everybody know. If you don't know, I'm gonna give you the brief synopsis of American Pit Bull Terrier. There were two types of terriers. The two types of American Pit Bull Terriers. You had the small ones that were the fighting dogs, and you had the bigger ones that became show dogs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And with me saying that is, I make that analogy to say this: he is just a bigger version of Davey Richards. And if you ever watch Davey Russell, as much as I love Wes, if you ever watch Davey Russell, he throws a couple of kicks, a couple of strikes, and then he just go submission hold, submission hold, submission hold, submission hold. Tell me that is not Karrion Kross. And he's not as good at the style as Davey.
Oh shit, man, goddamn. Oh, he really just spilled out.
Time out.
Listen, is he just spilled out a Karrion Kross match?
This is what if I'm wrong in anything I'm saying, not opinion, based on the matches you've seen. If I'm wrong in anything I'm saying, tell me where I'm wrong.
The presentation gets you. I think that's what
grinds it.
Now that you broke it down, now if you take the presentation away and you break it down, that is the Karrion Kross.
No, it's the presentation and it's how he like sneaks up on folks.
Okay, you ready? Again, this is why I compared it to the American Pit Bull Terrier, because you remember the show dogs became known as the American Staffordshire Terriers. You see a Staffordshire Terrier on the street, it's a big dog. I'm going across the street. No, sir, we're not playing with that dog. Then you find out that these show dogs don't have no fight in them. It's the same thing. It looks great. It looks like it'll rip your leg off, and then you find out it's the sweetest thing in the world. But then you mess around and see you a game bred pit, and it's the scrunniest little thing you'll ever see. But then your dog comes around and it rips the leg off your dog.
I still like Karrion Kross.
But I'm just saying, if you take
by all means, you can love him. What I will say is this: the presentation that he has now was way better than the presentation he had in NXT and when he first came to the main roster.
Yeah, when Vince did it, it really could see the Davey Richards. You can see the Davey Richards now when Vince did it.
Sparta, I was like, why?
In NXT, he was terrible.
Yeah,
because he was so robotic.
Yeah,
he is just Davey Richards, we'll say 40 pounds heavy.
Look, that little forearm smash to the back of the head.
And then
Either finish it,
yeah.
or he gonna put you in the cross jacket. Yep. And he mess up so many times with the cross jacket because he had to keep readjusting his hands.
Oh my
you know what I'm saying? It's terrible. It's like, okay, it's for a guy that wrestles that style. I can name at least 10 other dudes that wrestle that style that do it way better.
Damn.
And we'll start with Davey. And truthfully, Davey's boring. Karrion Kross is boring. You put him in the ring, he does not captivate outside of maybe a suplex. He doesn't give you off the emotion.
The suplex is nice though.
He's like I said, from a technical standpoint, the guy's, you know what I'm saying? He's a serviceable guy, but he doesn't give off the emotion. You know why people love Shibata? You know why people love Shibata? Besides the fact that he looks like he's gonna kick your head in. When that son of a bitch, when he headbutts somebody, pow, and he looks around like this, and it's, oh my God, he's gonna kill him. It's the same thing with Suzuki. When somebody slaps Suzuki and he looks around, he got that crazy smile.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's why I love Ishii. When he fucks you up, he means it.
You know what I'm saying? But it's the like I said, I know plenty of Kenta, same exact thing. Even then, he was a little scrawny Kenta with the yellow and brown trunks with the crazy wire hair. It was the fact that he was willing to go in there and get beaten, could sell like his life depended on it, and give you moments. Karrion Kross just doesn't do it.
Just think about it. He floundered without Scarlett.
Facts.
He did. I was like, "Where's Scarlett?" Because this is not working.
Yeah, he floundered, and then they put him in a helmet, and then they shipped his ass out of there.
Yeah, this is my personal take. If he could learn to put more emotion in what he's doing, then you got something. You can send him to the move. Okay, let's put it this way. He is Puerto Rican. What's that big old Scott's name?
McIntyre.
There you go. He's Puerto Rican McIntyre before McIntyre hit the independence.
Oh, goddamn!
McIntyre could wrestle. McIntyre could wrestle and do a lot of things, but McIntyre had no personality. McIntyre hit the
3MB.
Are you talking about the chosen one?
We're not even talking about 3MB McIntyre. We're talking about
the chosen one.
Yes.
Broken Dreams.
Okay, the chosen one. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
McIntyre hit the independence.
Yeah, he couldn't talk for shit.
He hit the independence. He hit the independence and he came down south.
That's why
he didn't hit the independence and stand in the northeast. He came down south. He did a lot of time here in Georgia. He did a lot of time in Florida. That's where he realized what pro wrestling was. I watched him wrestle Jimmy Rave. Rest in peace, Jimmy. Mm-hmm. I watched him wrestle Jimmy, and I watched Jimmy put on a masterclass and show him what it meant to be a pro wrestler.
Look at him now.
Yeah.
With a sword.
COVID Drew. Okay.
Yeah.
Listen.
I'm just saying. That's why when we were talking about what if Bray Wyatt comes back and they bring him in it, he needs to be in that fucking stable because he needs something. Because eventually somebody is going to get tired of Karrion Kross because now that you take the presentation away, it's just like, it's really going to be a kick. So either he's going to knock somebody out with that forearm smash or it's going to be
choke him out.
He is the female Nikita Lyons.
Oh, shit. I mean the male Nikita Lyons. Yeah.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes.
This is what I'll say.
Lyons.
Yeah,
this is what I'll say about. This is what I'll say about Kross. If he can find a way to bring his presentation in the ring with him, he could potentially be the next Undertaker.
Oh yeah,
cool.
And the reason why I say it is because if you look at early Undertaker, we'll say we're from 90 up until, again, he went out in 99 with that injury.
Yep.
Nope. Everything was personality for him. He was robotic. He was slower, but everything was personality.
Rest in peace. Yeah.
Yeah.
Paul Bearer was the dude.
Yeah. Paul Bearer was the emotional link. He was the emotional link to the people. But
And before
Undertaker,
that, it was Brother Love. Before that, so then
It was Brother Love first, then Paul Bearer.
Pritchard, Bruce Pritchard in pink makeup.
Yeah. Yes.
But even with that, all his everything about him that sold him was personality and moments. Karrion Kross, no personality, no moment.
But unfortunately,
he has to have a moment this week. He has to have a moment in this strap.
Okay, but let's be honest. We remember Karrion Kross. Adam Cole owned him. He owned him.
Did. Oh my God.
But here's the thing. Adam Cole, if you want Adam Cole, dang it, what's that? I can't think of his name. It escapes me right now. But Adam Cole, he beat Eddie for the ROH title. He's got that Diamond Factory thing going on.
Oh, you talking about Roger? No, Roger.
Roger
There
Strong.
you go, Roger. There we go. Strong.
Roger Strong.
You look at Roddy. Roddy and Cole are the same person.
Yeah.
Wrestling wise,
Yep.
the trajectory of the career, but I bring them into the example of Karrion Kross. Nobody cared about Adam Cole or Roger Strong until they started found a way to bring their personalities into the ring to make moments. Roger Strong was known as the guy that can do 1,000 different backbreakers. No one cared.
I agree. Nobody.
He was just there.
He was there.
Adam Cole, same thing with Adam Cole. Adam Cole was seen as the guy. Adam Cole was the Marty Jannetty of him and of the Next Gen.
Woo!
Shit. Damn.
He was. Wait. We can woo. He was. No one cared. You know what?
I have no problem with that.
It took one moment, and for him to realize I got to show more. It took him finishing the match, bleeding from his mouth profusely with Kyle O'Reilly, and then you saw it pick up with now you got the Adam Cole back. Boom.
Yeah.
It's all personality for him now.
Yep.
Damn. You make me look at wrestling like at a totally different angle now. Like, damn.
And that's not a bad thing.
I know. Like,
not a bad thing at all.
Sometimes you had the blinders on, you get caught up by the presentation, and you just
that's me. My bad.
You just don't.
Because I can see what he was talking about, comparing him to Davey Richards. I'm like, shit, he's right.
Oh
yeah, he is
God.
Davey
Richards.
I mean, again,
and I like Kross. It's not like I'm a Kross fan, but I'm like,
we love Karrion Kross, but when you compare him to Davey Richards, it's like, yes,
I can see where it can get boring because if he does the same shit over and over, it's gonna get boring.
Case in point. Davey was his hottest when they put the emotional story between him and Eddie for the ROH title. Supplement that with his promo about his grandparents. Mm-hmm. He had him a good year, maybe 2-year run being hot. After that, no one cared. Why? Because the personality, the little bit of a backstory, a little bit that hook that you need in pro wrestling as a competitor. He never used it. He never sunk it in. It was a Davey Richards match here, a Davey Richards match there. Okay, yeah, great. He can go in here. He's fine, but no one cares. No one cares.
That's real though. No, you don't really care. You don't really hear too much about Davey Richards no more.
No. I'll give you a perfect example of a Georgia star who who everyone loves because they look at him as they look at him as he's one of the best wrestlers in the world, and no one would disagree with him. But he also figured it out himself. Joe Black. Now, mind you, I know Joe Black from 10 years ago when he wanted to be that wrestler dude. And you know what ended up happening? Joe figured out I got to put me into it. I got to put people I got to have an emotional hook. And once he did that, Joe Black took off to the moon. We watched Joe.
Sure did. I seen them in person.
And this is before the in which I hate that video because he was a dude that deserved that type. The dude deserved this run way before the video came out. Mm-hmm. But when you watch, I'm bringing down the synopsis of it. Look at the way that Joe wrestles. Joe doesn't go in there and hit 1,000 freaking moves.
No, he don't.
But it's the execution and the personality that he puts into what he does that makes people be like, Jesus Christ. It makes people, Jesus Christ. Him and Trevor Aeon is another guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that wrestler.
We had him in the show too.
Yeah,
he's been here.
That wrestler, another guy that wanted to be that wrestler dude. But then once he found his hook. You look at him now. That boy is everywhere.
Yes, he is.
Yes.
Yep.
I'll give you another one. Anthony Henry, another guy that wanted to be that wrestler dude. Anthony Henry left Anarchy, said, I'm going to bet on myself. Start betting on himself, went out, start showing more personality in ring, and then start expecting his out ring. Next thing you know, you look up him and JD Drake are the workhorsemen. Oh. You look up him and JD Drake are in Evolve. Mm-hmm. You look up, he got signed to the Fed. JD went to AEW, but it was the personality, something that people can hook on to you. What's gonna make somebody spend their money to come see you?
That's what you need to do.
What's gonna make them care about you? I can tell people like this all day. I can be the biggest, baddest dude in the world, but a lot of my best work is done as a face.
Oh, that's what now you got me like want to know now. I'm like, why would you say that? I'm like, I look at you, big imposing guy. That
you want? I'll tell you why. You know why you never see big guys be big guys as faces? Because it's hard to make people buy that a dude half your size is beating you that severely for that long. There's I'll say it this way. The secret to big man wrestling is all emotion. We're gonna split it in two parts. You got the character work and you have the in-ring. We're gonna put the in-ring over here for a second. This is all character work. Look at Undertaker. He spent most of his career as a face.
Yes, he did.
Yeah,
especially if you look at the 2000 version of the last 20 years of his career, he was all face.
Mm-hmm. Except you look at Equal years, and then he went back to being a face.
Yeah. You look at him versus Triple H. Triple H whipping him with the chair, and he's still struggling to get up.
I told you to stay down.
Mm-hmm. Triple H, stay down. Him and Brock, they had that big massive rumble on that big massive fight on what's his name? Brock, I'm gonna kill you. Undertaker as a face.
I hope you will.
You're gonna have to. You're gonna have to.
I still remember stabbing Brock in the hand with the pen.
You know why? Brock was seen as the big bad boogie monster. That was the role that the Undertaker had played for years. And for the first time in a long time, you saw him as the old man gunslinger that's just out here itching for another fight.
Yes.
And then you will bring that up. Then for that fight, they used that "Ain't No Grave Gonna Hold My Body Down."
Yes. Johnny Cash, baby.
The gunslinger.
The gunslinger,
That's what made me think about it. Like it was a Western He had a Western theme to it. Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. Even though that was supposed to have been a Sting song, but that's a different
Yes.
story.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was.
Yes, it was
Um,
supposed to be Sting.
so
Fuck Sting. Oh.
back to me. Me as a face, me being a credible face. Um, it's being able to get people to buy into the fact of a perfect example of what I'm about to say is me versus Gunnar Miller. Anybody's ever seen Gunnar Miller, he's all of maybe 6'2", at best, 240 pounds. You have
Man, I'm
me,
bigger than him. Shit.
yeah, Gunnar, and the funny thing is Gunnar when compared to when his first run, Gunner's way smaller.
Hmm.
So then you got me coming in 6'7", 6'8", 350, 360 pounds, and he's the heel and I'm the face. And how do I make that? Number one, you tap into the energy and the emotion of the crowd from the moment you get out. If they can read on your face that you're here for a fight, they'll get behind you. I tell people, like, go watch the second match between me and Gunnar Miller. And when I come out, you can see I'm literally all in trying to get the crowd with me because I hadn't been there in a couple of months. But all in to get the crowd with me, I'm literally on the verge of tears. And all it is, that's outside that being a special moment for me, that's this person, that's the crowd. They can read that. From the moment we're out, they can read it. I'm looking around, you can see it in my face, like, okay, I know what my job here is. I know what my job is tonight. My job is to make him look like the freaking boogeyman while still maintaining my integrity. So when you get into the match and and he's standing over me, punching me, boom, boom, boom. Excuse me. And every time he thinks I'm down, no, no. That pulls on the emotion of somebody out there. That pulls on the emotion of a kid that looks at you like he's a superhero. Right here. If you pay attention to the video, every time he does something to me, I look to this one kid like help. And you can see the kids like, and the crowd, they follow that kid. They follow whoever is the way of I'm on my back, but it don't seem like I'm on my back. I'm constantly fighting up. To where he's sitting there and I pull the Undertaker spot or just sit up and look at him and the place explodes. That's the secret to the character work as a it's making people love you.
That was a master class right there.
Another case in point.
Got me a notebook and take notes. Shit.
We had a loser leave anarchy match.
Oh, damn.
We go in, we do the match, and I didn't realize it, but we had done what we were supposed to do. And we're sitting there and we're in the ring, and I didn't realize it until after we left. I get out, I'm selling, I walk around. They literally had to stay in the ring an extra 3 to 4 minutes so I could do a parade around because people would not leave. But and when we get to the back, Will comes up and goes, "Yo, were they crying?" Yep. Like, what the hell?
Nice.
What you supposed to do? You got grown men out here crying because Jeter has to leave anarchy.
I just thought about.
Nice.
Oh man.
You saw a Roman.
I thought a Roman
made the kids cry. The grown men cry.
See, Roman don't count because he had a ace up his sleeve called cancer.
I think she was talking about when he wasn't a face then. He was a heel doing
He was at SmackDown, and I forgot who he was beating on. He was beating on somebody, and all them kids was crying, and then we found out grown men were crying. I was like, oh, shit.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Who was it? It was Randy Orton and Riddle. It was
Yeah,
he was choking out Riddle ass.
Randy Orton and Riddle. And we see somebody's mom.
Win.
Nope. We see somebody's mom, some lady like cover her kid's ears because I guess Jay was cursing. I said, "Ma'am, your kid had to be home."
Jay was cursing. Roman had Riddle choking him out. They had grown men crying in there. I'm like, shit.
But what I mean, that moment would have been so impactful if it wasn't for Orton and Matt being able to elicit that emotion out of the people.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, it would just look like now they're just beating on a dead horse. You know, but because they could elicit that emotion, it allowed for that moment to be great in what it was.
And so, yeah, I think about that like that. Like the face is really working if you're making people crying.
Yeah, I mean, this your job as a face to sell and put sell get sympathy and put the heel over as big as you can. Whether you win or whether you lose it, that is your job.
I still remember as a kid, people cried when Yokozuna beat Hulk Hogan. They were crying their ass off. Like everybody was crying in that in that building. Man, it was crying down. Of course, I was
Yeah,
a Hogan fan. I was just like, okay. But I can see now that people was invested in Hogan. It was like
yeah.
they loved him. And that's why when he turned heel in WCW, they was about to burn the place down.
That was fucking great.
Wait, what? Not burn the place. I just thought he turned heel. I was like, okay.
Oh,
No, when he
man,
formed the NWO.
Yeah. I was like, okay, new look.
Them people were pissed. Even though they were born the man beforehand, they were born Hogan. But them people were pissed. Because they're like, well, Hogan would never do that.
Okay, you got certain dudes in wrestling that establish themselves as a beloved babyface that no matter what they do, when they finally turn, it can go one of two ways. If you turn too late, it don't register. If you turn too early, it don't register. But when they finally turn, it is what it is. Hogan in WCW was one. Sting was one.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Man.
Foley, if WWE would have found a way to turn Mick after he became cuddly mankind, it would have worked.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody loved cuddly mankind.
I love Dude Love.
Well, you know, they had a heel dude love, but
Yeah, but that didn't work. That
didn't
didn't
really
work.
Weird.
That didn't work.
He was being shady. It wasn't heel. It was like
Nah,
shady.
heel Dude Love was ugh.
It didn't work because Dude Love is a face character. How can you not get behind that music? I'm just saying. That music
I mean,
is
Vince got behind
a
it. He was
face music.
dancing by the ramp.
Listen, it was a face music. It tried to do, but it didn't work. It didn't work.
You weren't gonna make Dude Love into a heel.
No.
It would be weird.
They did. They tried to. It didn't
They
work.
tried, but
It didn't work.
I missed that train. I thought he was just
Austin
there.
and Dude Love feuded for a while, like a couple months. They feuded.
Yeah.
But it didn't work because people just see Dude Love as this funny character. Just like,
Yeah, it was like I'm a heel.
okay.
In fact, Steve Austin is another one. It was so endearing to the public as a face. When he turned, they didn't know how to react to it. It took people a while to get on board with Steve being a heel.
and it didn't work.
And it's funny you say that most people don't realize he started as a heel. Like,
Of course. Setting Steve Austin in world class championship wrestling.
I'm just saying, even the Stone Cold character started as a heel. Talk about you put an S in front of the Hitman. That's what I think of Bret Hart. That's a great damn line. Shit.
I mean, I don't think that people didn't. People knew he began as a heel, but it's the fact that he made himself so endearing.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. Is like it's those moments. You become so endearing to him that some people feel like we can't. He's not going to let us down. He's not going to. There's no way. And when it happens, it's like, their feelings are literally hurt. Like you disappointed us. We really believe that you were this dude,
Yeah.
and sometimes it works and the heel catches fire, and then sometimes the way you've disappointed that crowd so much the way it just falters.
Well, when he took his ball and went home, that pissed a lot of people off, including myself. I'm like, what? So
No.
Let's see. Jay said you mentioned that you had to work harder as a big man, and you said it was emotion that you had to work on. Do you feel that your in-ring work also had to be stronger with a wide move set?
Nope.
Simple answer.
there you
I
go,
love
simple
it.
answer.
I love it. Sometimes the simple answers are the best.
Nope. Because if you look at all great faces, not all great faces have to wrestle babyface style. And what I mean by that is you don't have to have 1,000 moves.
Look at Hulk Hogan,
A
Giant
thousand,
Demon.
a thousand. Look at Flair. Flair didn't have 1,000 moves.
Mhm.
Look at Ricky Steamboat. Steamboat didn't have 1,000 moves.
Nope.
Macho Man didn't have 1,000 moves either.
Yeah, people having 1,000 moves didn't have become a thing until guys like that 85, 90 class came in, and that was guys like that were the guys that included
You can
oh
Bret Hart. You can put
that
him.
Brent that included everybody that included when we had to have RVD that
Mhm.
included guys like Eddie, that included guys like Mexico, that included
Benoit, etc., etc. Yes.
damn it, Rey Mysterio, that included guy is like Dean Malenko. That's when you start getting those
Oh,
thousands guys.
Dean couldn't talk shit on a mic.
Dean was bad
He
on the
was
on the
Dean
horrible.
was
mic. On
boring
the
the shit
mic.
He
off.
was horrible on the mic.
But here's the thing, though, guys like Dean Malenko and Chris Benoit, their entire appeal was that they could just wrestle.
That's it.
Mhm. Yes.
And
Like
Dean
Let the
had that
wrestling
dope
do.
007 music.
they didn't need Benoit, Dean Malenko. Uh, those were guys who didn't need to talk because their in ring was so strong that it worked for them. And what they messed up with guys like Malenko was when they tried to make him talk, make him a talk. Don't make him talk.
Oh
Or like
God.
Cesaro. Like he can wrestle his ass off. He couldn't talk.
Yeah, but see, that's what I mean. But the niche of it works. Cesaro whole thing is put me in the ring and I'll out wrestle anybody you put me on your show.
And he did.
Yep.
You know, you get that you didn't start getting that marriage of guys who could talk because Brent wasn't necessarily a strong talker.
Oh hell no.
Brent
Anybody
wasn't
say Brett can talk on the mic, man, he lying.
Ah.
while Sean could talk. Sean back in his younger years necessarily wasn't that great of a worker.
But he grew into become that worker.
There you go. But see
Okay.
that by necessity of his back though. But with Sean was all about the flash in his younger years.
Yep.
Everybody
Yes.
goes, "Who's Shawn?" I name one match from Sean's first 10 years in the WWE that everybody
But
knows.
Shawn Michaels was the
Razor,
ultimate.
Ladder match.
Razor Ramon ladder.
Ladder match.
Yeah, okay, you got the ladder match, but the one match that everybody knows is him versus Brett, Iron Man.
Yo, yeah,
Yeah.
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 That one too.
And that was and it worked. But then you look at the growth potential. But the other half of that was Sean became more of a character guy the older he got as well.
Yep. The only one that was like, well, that was because he changed his life and he got with God, so he was like a.
No, no, Sean became a character guy. While that played a good role in it, Sean couldn't do all the crap that he could do 10 years prior.
Yeah, them back was done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course.
He couldn't do all the physical stuff. He couldn't do that anymore. So he had to fight. He changed his entire wrestling style.
I mean, some of the super kicks were god awful. Like, he was missing by a mile.
Ooh.
Yes and no. And what I mean by that is this: if you watch a lot of those things, a lot of those folks were pre-bumping. But it didn't matter because, like, you look at all the best matches Sean had. Like he had, like you said, he had a couple of good ones. Him and Razor in the ladder matches. You had him and Taker in the first Hell in a Cell. You had
Yep.
him versus Brett. But you look at the bulk of Sean's work that everybody loves him for. It's the back half of his career.
Yeah.
That's where you got the him and Ray. That's where you got the him and Shelton. That's where you got the him and Angle.
That match is. I wish that match, him versus Shelton, that match was fantastic.
That was a great match.
Fantastic match. Never gets mentioned at all with being one of the better matches.
And one of the best moments was when he retired. Well, he's supposed to retire Flair.
And that was supposed to be his last match. Damn it! I don't know.
That was a great. Rick should have just rolled off with that one, but it was a good moment because it's like, damn, is it really gonna happen? Is Flair really gonna be going?
He said, "I'm sorry, I love you." He gave him that kick,
But
and then 1, 2, 3, and I started crying.
Yeah, I think a lot of people cried when he did him with that.
Screw that! I cheered, and I was there. I was there in Orlando.
But you look at it though, that's old Sean and old Rick.
Yeah.
Two guys that understand that it's not the moves, it's the moments and the emotion. And you got masterclass. It's the same thing with him and Taker in those two matches they had back to back.
Oh yeah.
I know there was a match, and this is when Kane had made his debut. When the part went, God damn it, it's Kane. The In Your House match between The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels.
It's gotta be Kane.
But even before Kane even came out, that match right there, because that's when Shawn Michaels was like bleeding. He was leaking. But it was a great match though.
Well, Shawn always leaked. Shawn has
that one, he was leaking. Like leaking.
Yeah. But it's like I said, it's the moments, it's the emotion. You look at, I just look at the first half of his career. Everything was technical because he was young enough to do it, but not wise enough not to. But you look at the second half of his career where he couldn't do it, but was wise enough not to. Look, you got the story with him and Angle in '96. You got the best professional wrestler in the world versus the best wrestler on the planet. And you bring it back, and they have that match. You got the match with him, the WrestleMania match with Benoit, Triple H, and Shawn. The story of that match made that match. Then you add on top of that the in-ring that came from it.
You got that the match where he super kicked Triple H so it's kind of damn ring.
That was the match. That was the match where Benoit had Triple H in the freaking sharpshooter, and Shawn came out of nowhere and super kicked him and
Super kicked him. Yep.
Oh yeah.
Like that match. Then you add on the fact of he had been a champion in WCW twice, and they stripped him of the belt twice. He'd been champion in WCW.
Well, he left WCW as champion.
I mean, that shit don't count.
Honestly, anything 2000 and on from fucking WCW don't count.
And the reason the reason why I say that because they had already stripped him of that belt before he left. It just wasn't public yet.
Yes.
Oh damn.
So
yes.
But then you add in the story of again he had quote unquote beat The Rock for the belt. They built it to this moment of him finally getting his just due. Then you add the fact of at the same time his best friend in the wrestling business in the world is the world champion, and they have that marriage at the end where they're in there boohooing their eyes out and hugging.
That's Eddie Guerrero to those who don't know.
Yeah. I got a question. Who's the White Rabbit? I'm hoping it's Bray Wyatt. Shit.
It's Bray.
Look,
it's
I'm
Bray.
Trying to find
if
out
it's not Bray, that there's going to be a failure if it's not Bray.
That shit is giving me a headache right now with a white rabbit because everybody's like trying to find clues and
I'm tired of that fucking white
I'm
rabbit.
tired of the conspiracy theory.
yes, that's what's going on. I'm like, look, just let it ride, y'all. Let it ride.
Exactly. We're gonna find out Saturday.
That's what they said.
So
Yeah,
Fucking white rabbit.
yeah. I'd say skin the bunny and feed him the bingo.
The white rabbit is carrying cross.
Oh my god.
That would be funny, man.
I am so
They're gonna
tired
have
of.
a white rabbit. Somebody gonna come out in the bunny suit. It's gonna be Adam Rose and the bunny.
There you go. Or it's gonna be Bad Bunny.
Oh, good lord.
Oh, I hope somebody at HQ is not listening to this.
Oh, good lord. Them people are going to riot. Where's this play? What are Extreme Rules gonna be at?
Philly.
Oh, they're gonna riot.
They're going to Philly with extreme rules.
Oh man, they're gonna fucking riot if that's anybody but Bray Wyatt.
Exactly.
Somebody can throw a can in the ring. Venom. Boom. There you go.
I told you I'm gonna do that one day, man.
No. No.
Yeah, because you gotta do it for the podcast.
Yeah.
I did it for the podcast.
I did
Man,
it
they
for
did
the
that
podcast.
shit. They used to do that back in the early 90s when people didn't like shit, throw shit in the ring. Look at that old NWO thing.
Yeah.
There was soda.
All this crap represents these fans here.
There was a lot of
Hogan and his moment, one of his moments, if you will.
That's like one of the only times I liked Hogan.
There's a lot of shit in the ring. Sheesh.
I did not like Hogan. Just to me, I just didn't get the appeal of a guy just telling me to, fucking posing and telling me to, eat my vitamins and say my prayers and shit. I'm like, okay.
I mean, we're gonna be honest. While Hogan was aimed at the kids, Hogan was also aimed at little white kids.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Women's wrestling. Yep.
What's up, Doc?
I'm just saying.
And
I was $1 Million Man fan too. I'm like, man, something about him. Like, this dude is rich.
And I was a Macho Man fan. So.
And Macho too.
I mean, but more importantly, the thing why a lot of people in the African American community didn't get behind Hogan didn't look like us.
No,
he tried to tan and look like us. He tried to tan and look like us. He tried to look like us in that damn tanning booth. He tanned his ass off.
He looked orange.
This is why I always say representation matters, because you had the Junkyard Dog, you had Ernie Ladd, you had
Rocky Johnson, Tony Atlas.
Yeah,
not really them.
Yeah, Tony and you had Rocky, but as reaching the pinnacle and being for the superstars, you knew Junkyard Dog was a superstar.
Yes. Yeah.
You knew Ladd was a superstar.
Yes.
You knew when you saw Rock, even though they only promote the fact that he part Samoan, we looked at Rock and said, "That's our guy."
Yeah, he's black.
Yes.
He's black.
Black.
It's the same thing with Booker T and Stevie Ray. They look, they talk, they walk. That's us. It's the same
Even
thing.
though they sound Texan Sandy from Harlem, we know. I said, these dudes sound like they're from the South. What the hell?
Ron Simmons. Okay. He looks like us.
Mm-hmm.
So, as much as I love Undertaker, the first time I could say that I really felt like I could do it was you saw Booker T with a high top fade.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
We talking. Who you talking to, sucker?
Call Hulk Hogan the N-word.
Hulk Hogan, we
damn-
coming for you.
Yeah, we coming for you.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah, I'm like, damn. I can get behind this dude. That's when I started watching WCW more than WWE because there wasn't that much of us in WWE back in those days.
no.
So it was like Harlem Heat. You had, they had a couple of, they had, like I said, when Ryan Simmons won the WCW belt, man, I'm like, damn, we won one. We got one. It's like they're going on a good run now. Like WWE's on a good run now, where, with black champions. Like, okay, cool. Still mad they broke up the Hurt business because that was the closest thing to the black full horsemen.
That's when me and Mel got matching shirts. You was wearing matching shirts on the podcast. We played that they broke up.
Because I'm like, they finally didn't have us shucking and driving. They finally didn't have us doing something stupid. We look serious. I'm like, wait. The only time else I felt this way was the Nation of Domination. But we still was militant group. But I'm like, the only time we looked fucking serious. And they just break it up for no reason. Like, you know what? Fuck it. We're just going to break it up.
Yes, the Hurt Business was the anti-New Day, if you will.
But the difference is the thing with the Hurt Business, they didn't have a star.
Bobby
wasn't the star.
Listen, we about to be honest real quick.
Let's go.
Bobby's a serviceable in-ring talent.
He's not a superstar.
Has he put himself found his moment to make himself be a superstar? No.
Mid-card. Yeah, mid-card. Masking as a
he's not.
Okay, he was champion,
Just think about it. It was the moment was when he jacked up the Miz in the Hurt Clock. Remember the Hurt Clock more than that championship reign. It's how he got the belt was gangster more than his reign. Like his reign lackluster.
Let's put it this way. Bobby was a serviceable guy that they had in place when they needed a serviceable guy. When they did not have Brock Lesnar to be that big.
Watley. Who the fuck is Pistol Pants Watley?
1986 NWA.
Oh. I was one.
I wasn't yet.
Go look up the NWA.
But as
been heard from or seen since.
But as far as they needed somebody to fill the role that Brock left open, and the only person that was physically big enough that had the background to was Lashley. But he never made it be. He never made it to where that role was his.
But it's also safe to say that Bobby, he didn't have a long title reign as champion, which kind of.
It was just nice to see, us in suits, the tailor-made suits.
That ain't got crap to do with it.
I'm just saying, for my personal perspective, I'm like, we not dancing, we not robbing people. we not.
Like, we all love MVP's character.
See, the thing with it, right? I agree with you on that part, but I'm saying as far as him being in that role and people like they can take him honestly serious in that role. Title reigns have nothing to do with that. Bobby Lashley is a genuinely nice guy. And you're seeing Bobby Lashley be the genuinely nice. I'm going to smile. I'm going to kiss baby. You see him so long. Whereas but from the moment Brock came in, Brock, don't with me.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yep.
He had that air of don't mess with me. You listen to stories of from Cornette, and everybody be like, we are not with that guy. You listen to stories of Brock's high school and wrestling coaches at Minnesota State. People are like, we're not messing with that dude. He walked in half. The only time I've ever heard somebody say he kind of was taken aback was the first time he met Batista. Because you remember how big Batista was initially.
Yes.
see what I'm saying? Whereas Ashley, when they brought him in, he came in, big glossy white smile, looked like dude. No, nothing about you says in in the presentation. Everything says I'm a good guy. Hey, white people love me.
Yeah. Maybe it was
So,
the MVP, like you said. Maybe it was the MVP presentation that he down and gritty.
so let me ask this question then. Would you say that his Bobby's TNA run was better than his current run?
He collected all the belts.
Yeah,
He sure did.
he sure did.
Mm, mm, mm,
Come on.
no,
Okay,
Not really.
because you want to know why?
please.
It's the same. The presentation, even in TNA, he just never felt like a superstar.
See, I see that. I see what you're trying to say.
I just think he's
I do.
No,
he's
no,
where he's at right now with the U.S. title. That's
it's not
perfect.
what I'm trying to say. It's what I'm saying. Bobby
My,
Lashley
my
never
bad.
saw as a superstar. Great, you can put him in the ring, serviceable guy. You need a big dude, a big dude that can play amongst that you can put a belt on. Okay, but he never came off as that superstar, even in TNA.
That's that dude. Yeah.
And if you
Hmm.
ask him about his TNA run, we're going to be honest. The thing that he was the draw he was in TNA is because he was fighting for Bellator at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
They were trying to get their version of Brock Lesnar.
Mm-hmm.
So it, like so certain people are pigeonholed with certain things that they can't get off and under. And he is one of them that cannot get off and under that.
Right.
Like you gotta have a super draft. And it also helps. It don't help that on the mic he's not the best.
No, he's not.
He doesn't have an intimidating voice either.
No,
Oh,
no,
I actually heard him talk in person. He's like soft spoken.
no.
It's not intimidating. I forgot that bodybuilder name. I forgot his name, but he was like all cut up and he talked like fucking Mickey Mouse. And he's like,
Tyson,
he started laughing at
he-
him.
Tyson. Mike Tyson looked scary until Mike Tyson opened up his mouth
Yeah.
and this come out. Well, you know, I'm the champion of the world. My defense is impeccable. No, like the only thing that makes Mike scary, Mike looked at you and this guy wants to kill me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like long as Don King was talking for Mike,
he was good. Yeah,
he was golden. You like,
No,
and
no, no.
Mike stopped talking. You like,
Mike was with Don King and Mike started talking. That's when you start getting, I'll pass that ass with peanut butter, white boy. You start getting that. Whoa.
oh, whoa.
That Mike. But before, when he was with Cuss and Tony and Atlas and they had him in a good mental space, Mike started talking. You be like, we're gonna take this dude serious. Then you see him within 3 minutes, he's got a dude stretch it out.
Yes,
The
young
point
Mike.
is, even with Mike, he walked around with that air of "Don't screw with me."
Absolutely,
Yes,
no
he did.
question.
Mike used to just crack his neck like that. You're like, oh shit.
Just not. And it's because he comes off as I can name a couple of superstars. Lashley. What's the big dude name that's the big black dude name he's their Titus O'Neil. They try to make him into a heel. It just doesn't because he's a nice dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tyson said he wanted somebody's children. That was
Yes, he did.
God. I
That was
remember
pretty
That's
that.
right. It was that same promo.
Yeah.
The same promo.
Yeah, boys. Yeah, man. He told the man
It was
he was
the same promo.
I want to see his
He
children.
basically said he was gonna rape a man, and then he gonna.
I'm gonna eat his children. It was the same promo.
He said, "I'm going to rape a man and I'm going to eat his children." What did that do to make him a heel? Anybody to take him serious, like he's going to hurt somebody.
Yeah. If somebody told me that, I'm like, like, goddamn, this dude crazy.
And you can't go talking about what you're going to do to somebody's family and children. You can't get case in point. He said that Samoa Joe just went out there and just called AJ's wife's name and said, "You tell her and little such and such, Daddy will be home."
Home.
Seth
Every
Rollins went to Edge's
Seth
house.
Rollins.
He went to
Seth
Edge's
Rollins.
house.
Seth Rollins just told him you need this payment because I know you know child support. You know he said
He
stuff
told
like
Willie that shit. Oh my God.
You see what I'm saying? Like
that.
if you can't, these gentlemen. While I understand that they are where they are because they present something different, but they just don't. Even when Lashley, like, dude, it's just not working.
I can't get with this. This little thing he does like that. I'm like, only time I got with Lashley was when he won the belt from the Miz, and you saw a vein get this fucking thick in his head because he was fucking so pissed off. I'm like, I don't know what pissed him off because you can't fake that. You can't fake that vein right there. I don't know what pissed him off, and he.
That's because the Miz was fucking
I'm
dodging him. That's what happened. The Miz was ducking, dodging.
I'm like this. He's going to kill the Miz. So I say, okay, now I'm interested. I'm interested now. He gonna kill the Miz.
But here's the thing with it, right? Had they taken Lashley when he was on that monster run, brought back, and just let them have a good old fashioned monster smash.
Absolutely.
Lashley's arrived.
Oh yeah, you're right.
But they took too long.
Yeah, it took too long.
I took my daughter to Cape to day one,
and
you watching it, and you're like, okay, we're gonna get that one-on-one. We're gonna get that Lesnar Lashley one-on-one match. Got the match, and from that, with the two things that were telling from that match was Lesnar had found somebody that can legitimately throw his ass around. Legitimately.
Yes.
But they're gonna screw Lashley, and they're gonna either gonna screw him or give him a dirty finish, and it's gonna kill everything that they're trying to do.
And you were right.
They did.
Kill everything that he was trying to do, then turn around and took the belt off him less than a month later.
Because he got hurt. Didn't he get hurt?
No, going back to Brock.
Oh yeah.
So
no, Lashley, he messed up his shoulder. Didn't he mess up his shoulder?
Yeah, he couldn't even get in the match.
He got hurt at Elimination Chamber. He got hurt.
Yeah, he didn't even get in the match.
No, he was in the match, but
I say he didn't even get into it. Like really.
Yeah, like Brock Lesnar like threw him, and I was like, shit.
That belt was still going back to it was still going back to Brock either way.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Oh, yes. Yes.
Back to Brock either way. My point is this: you want to make Lashley as that superstar, put him in there, give him a clean finish, let him and Brock give themselves a good match. Brock give him a good match. He's over. It's a guy that everybody wants to succeed. It's a guy that he's a guy that wants to see. It's a guy that fans want to see succeed. It's a guy that fans also understand. This is legitimately one of the few guys in the locker room who, if Brock gets crazy, he can handle himself against Brock.
Like you with Brock ass, probably. You never know.
Let's put it this way. The only time I ever seen Brock take a second and think about it is when Strowman need him, legit need him.
Yeah.
You like, whoa.
Yeah, buddy.
And then he proceeded to whip the shit out of him.
No, see, the difference in that thing was Brock has MMA training, so he knows where to punch, when to punch. But in that moment, whoo!
It was on.
I wasn't ready.
It was on.
That remind me what Andre the Giant did the fucking Ultimate Warrior. He said, "Man, slow down." He did slow down. He
did that.
So it's they had a moment to make Lashley where he could have been that superstar for them, and they chose to go the route they went because Lashley was a pit stop in their plans to them ascending Roman to finally being the guy.
I get that.
Damn.
Because the end game was Roman versus Lesnar's 2008. Whatever you want to say, how many times they didn't fucking fought? About 2,000 times. They finally had to get it right. I'm like, they finally got it fucking right in their last match. Hopefully they never wrestle again, like each other
Please,
again.
no,
Not
no.
need to wrestle each other again.
Immediately, no.
Because that's the perfect finish. The ring got destroyed. Heyman got destroyed. Fuck, even Theory got destroyed. Shit.
Exactly. Move on.
Perfect.
Here's the thing with it. How many times have we seen Austin and Rock wrestle each other?
A lot.
Okay.
Yeah,
A lot.
How many times have we seen Flair and Hogan wrestle each other?
It got ran in the ground at WCW, yeah.
But the money was still there. The difference was they had somebody that WCW had other people that they could rely on to put into place to give the feuds time to breathe. It was the same thing with Rock and Hogan. Not Rock and Hogan, I'm sorry. Rock and Stone Cold. You had other players. You had Undertaker. You had Triple H. You had Foley as Dude Love. You had other people in place to allow it to breathe. You had other people you could take Rock from this man and bring him down here. You put Rock in a tag team with Foley and have them get the tag team titles for a couple of months, for 6 months. And then slowly bring them back up. Slowly bring Rock back up in time for Mania, or bring Mick back up for WrestleMania. You don't have Roman doesn't have that. You got Seth Rollins.
Wait.
Well, I need to see that match again, though. That Roman.
But
Seth Rollins
but see
match.
that feud, they letting that breathe. Like
Let it breathe. But that need to be a Mania match or something.
I know they.
I wouldn't mind seeing Seth beat them. Like that's one of the people I said that can beat him, and you could be like, okay, I fucks with it.
You don't let that breathe all day. But here's the thing: you've exhausted any possibility of Brock versus Roman, because you've put that match on literally for the last almost 7 years straight.
Yes.
No, the match I'm talking about, the feud I'm talking about with Seth and Roman. They letting that breathe.
That's the match that we want to see. That's the match that need to be
prime. Why? I get why, but why?
Because you got to think about it. Seth has him and Riddle. And then I have a feeling he has some unfinished business with Cody when he gets back.
But he got to get in the program with Lashley, look like it anyway. They're like, he about to get in the program with Lashley.
And then there's Lashley too. So they letting it breathe. Like, don't get me wrong, like that shit with Roman and Seth, it took off. And everybody, a lot of people want to
capitalize on it though, man. Like,
I mean this. There are times they could have put Seth and Roman in the Mania main event and let Brock and Roman breathe. There's different places they could have went versus Brock versus Roman 5 out of the 7 last WrestleManias or so.
Yeah, that's pretty fucking bad.
That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that you gotta, but see, again, I understand why it is the way it is. You're trying to establish this guy as the new guy, and y'all been trying to do it for at least 7 years, and the fans are regurgitating it back in your face. Up until you decide to let him turn heel and show personality. Okay, there's that. But you have no one else. You got Seth, Dean's gone, Moxley's gone. You had Orton, but Orton's in a place where he's just like, I'm just here to collect checks and have fun.
We don't know about his back. His back is bad. His hand is pretty bad.
Oof.
You had Bray, who was somebody that was a movable piece in and out. You don't have Bray.
Hopefully they bring him back.
Hopefully. Maybe. Who knows? You don't guys, all the NXT, all the indie guys that y'all signed to NXT, y'all start bringing them up, y'all start bringing them up, cutting the work, and now what? All of them are gone. You got some that never made it to opted not to go to the main roster. Wait out their time, and when their contract expired, they jump ship. You had
Cody's hurt, and Cody's hurt. So
you finally got Cody, but again, he comes in and rips his freaking chest apart.
Yeah, so it's nobody really. You're right. There's nobody really there to do it And then you got a sucky ass Money in the Bank person. I'm sorry. Like nobody gives a fuck about Theory. It's like
thing. Theory played the role that he was supposed to play.
Mm-hmm.
He's Vince's pick. He's Vince's guy. That's the role he was going to play. He's going to eventually, no matter what they say, he's going to end up being the new golden guy. He's too young. He's too pretty. He has too much potential.
yeah, I get that. I'm just saying for right now though, to go over Roman, I'm like people just like, nah, please God no. Now it's becoming a running joke. Every time he cash it in, he get his ass whooped. That's
Well, we're gonna be honest, he got put in that spot too quick.
yeah.
But he got that spot because he reminded Vince of a young Cena.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you look at the body type, it's the same.
Yeah.
Even though he's like a full 3 inches taller.
Yeah.
No, and
But I'm just talking about if you look at the build, it's
Cena doesn't walk around taking selfies, so yeah.
John Cena was 5'9", masquerading to be 6'1".
Cena is that short?
He that short?
I said he may be 6 feet at best.
I know I saw him. He is. I realized he wasn't that tall. I know he wasn't like. I didn't know he was 5'9", but I thought he was like maybe 5'11". Maybe.
No, he's a legit 6 feet, as you said, at best.
You know what I'm saying? I say maybe 5'11", 6 feet, but he's not like super tall. Cena's not super tall. He's not tall.
You know, so it's they've pinned themselves in a hole where everybody that you had coming in that could be a factor, you've either killed or you've let go. You got Kevin Owens, the first Universal Champion, and what have y'all done with him since?
Not a damn
That
thing.
was a good rivalry with him and Roman. Like that
I'm
was a good
still stuck on
rivalry.
the fact that
Or him
match
and Rollins have had great matches.
I'm like, that was a great one when he got hit with the golf cart and
yeah, when Roman
It was-
and run him over, I was like, why are you honking, sir?
they had
Run
good
him
chemistry.
over.
I'm like, why are we letting this simmer too? I'm like,
You got good chemistry, but it doesn't mean anything if your dance partner cannot hold up their end.
True.
And part about it is, while we look at Owens and say he can hold up his end, it means nothing if the company does not believe in you.
man,
Yes.
you spitting facts, man. You've been spitting facts the whole time we've been on here, man. It's facts.
Absolutely.
It means nothing if they don't believe in them. So they have no one. They tried it with Riddle. He's doing his best impersonation of RVD that no one takes serious.
Yeah. RVD mixed up with Orton. I'm saying it's Orton. It's an Orton VD.
But before that, he was doing his best version of RVD.
Oh yeah, being high off his ass.
They literally have no one.
Yeah, they really don't.
That's
they want the perfect baby face to Roman Reigns' heel. Sami Zayn. What do? You stick him as the heel with Reigns. You get Sami Zayn as Sami Zayn face and let Roman whoop on him, and then you let Roman whoop on him for months, and then finally he gets to the point where he gets over on him. Money.
And the thing is,
long-term booking.
See, but even though he's a heel, they still treat him like a face. Like they cheer Zayn when Zayn come out.
They love him. They love Sammy.
Here's the thing, though. You would think Sammy will turn, but it's not. It's going to be somebody very close to him that's going to turn. Well, you know who I'm talking about.
I keep saying Jay. I'm thinking this Jay gonna turn.
It'll more than likely it'll be Sammy, because while people love the Usos, they don't have that baby face. They don't have that baby face shine. They won't have the baby face shine that Sammy will get.
Yeah, the only reason why it's not about a babyface situation is the fact that Jay is sick of the shit. He's sick
I'm
of
just
bullshit.
saying, that'll be perfect long-term storytelling because Jay got his ass whooped. Like he whipped the shit out of Jay, and then Jay joined him, did all the dirty work,
I'ma get him.
and then that'll be a nice story, though. Because it was
Don't
called the main event, Jay, and all that. It'll be a nice story, but like he said, I think it's gonna probably be Sammy too. Like,
get it wrong. Jay, they can do Jay's tired. He's tired of this. He's tired of that. But Jay Uso will not get the baby shake. He won't get the baby face shine that Zayn can get.
they love
Like
Sammy.
that pop he gonna get because like.
Well,
shit,
maybe
man.
it'll be the bloodline turning on Sammy instead of Sammy turning on them. Like maybe this.
We was expecting that Friday, and then look what happened.
Nope.
He got a raggedy shirt talking about honorary oops.
Oh man, because he know the people gonna buy it.
I was scared out
They
my
gonna buy
head.
that shirt, man.
People are going to buy that shirt. Absolutely.
Man, I think that shirt like at least top 5. I think now because
Well,
people
according to
buying
Kevin
that shirt.
Owens, he told him you need a new shirt. I guess he wore it too long.
Because the rumor is that KO and Sammy gonna get back together and take the titles off the Usos. That's what they're trying to say.
Once they get long-term story booking.
But I would rather see, like you say, Sammy in that role because Sammy never got that chance to run with it. KO had his chance to be in the main event. For some reason, they don't like Sammy, man. And I like Sammy and everything Sammy did. He made everything work. You look about it, he made everything work.
Yep.
You had the underground or the underdog from the underground. Sammy, that worked. That got over.
The conspiracy theory, Sammy.
Crazy Sammy got over.
Had the cameras following him.
The jackass thing, him and Johnny Knoxville worked. And then now this version of Sami Zayn is working.
Yeah, so like I said, Sami Zayn is he's one of those guys that knows how to pick his moments and people invest in him emotionally. And it's not, and what he's proven that it's hard, but once you learn it, it's easy. So and more importantly, you got his core fans, which have been absorbed into the WWE universe that are leading that march behind. Like, we want a face Zayn. We want him doing what he does best. Let him be a baby face and give him what y'all need a baby face. You got one, just use him.
As our favorite saying is, if used properly, Sami Zayn could be that next person. Man, he could be the next person because he got charisma out the ass, man. Like,
and he knows, now he's learning the ins and outs of the bloodline. He's being nosy.
And people would not be mad if Sammy beat Roman. They would not be mad. He would get a pop out this world. He would.
Now, do you think Raggedy Theory will cash in on Sammy?
Oh man, you talk about Riot. If Theory was to cash in on, it would work both ways. Now, if Theory cash in on him, the heel heat Theory would get would be fucking ridiculous.
That's the only thing I'm thinking of now.
Just think about when Daniel Bryan won and he got cashed in on.
Oh my God.
That heel heat Randy Orton got was ridiculous.
If they wanted to make Theory into one of the most hated men on the roster than what he is, and say they did the exact same way, he beats him 18 seconds, Theory, boom, new heel champ. Oh, they'll lose their marbles.
Oh yes, indeed. They would riot because you like Sam. You know how they'll be doing it. Michael Cole. Oh my God, Sammy finally did it. Hyping it up. And then you hear Theory's music.
8 times down.
8 times down. No.
Like no. That's how. And then let's say Roman hurts Zayn really bad, and then he come down and he cash in on him, and man, would people boo?
Boo! The whole
They
thing
already
about it.
booing Theory now. They boo the
Yep.
shit out of him now. So he would get some heat, and that would work. That's the only way I can see Theory cashing in
Because
his
if you think about it, they still Raw needs a champion.
Mm-hmm.
They need a champion. Yes, they do.
Just need to end the brand split.
And the brand split.
Just need to end that shit.
I don't. I mean, I have no problem with that either, but because the way it's looking like the brand split is ending.
Why not? Why are the women's championships not unified? Just unify
They
all them
already
shit.
did that.
Just unify all them shits.
Thing really, right? You want to make they want to make those titles mean something. Leave the brand split. Have your champions defend on both shows. Women, men, tag. Have you
Here's the problem with Roman.
or except for the US and the Intercontinental. Have those be exclusive to one brand.
I agree.
Those
Absolutely.
titles will be worth more too.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
That
see,
way you got that norm that used to have of okay, he's got this title that we know that he's going to be the next guy going for this. Leave those two titles exclusive to those whatever brand they're on, but have one world champion, one tag champion, one women's champion, and
The women's tag team titles.
have them between NXT and have them going around between all three shows.
Absolutely. Huh.
And you think about it, that's what they kind of doing now anyway, though. That's what they kind of doing.
I know they did it with the tag women's champions on the main roster. They had them come to NXT, right?
Yeah. Women's tag team titles was everywhere. It's because you don't have enough teams. You don't have enough women established teams for that belt.
They don't have enough women, period.
That point too.
That too.
It's time to start bringing some of them NXT call ups. Start bringing them up.
Make sure if they bring them up, they might cover some wagons. I'm just saying.
But we're also going to be honest about this. Women's wrestling has never been a true money grab before the last 5 years.
I can agree with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's only the last 5 years that women's wrestling has run to the point of, okay, we are here now. But the money base of the WWE is wrestling. So they would have to bring up a lot of those ladies from NXT, strategically place them throughout the brand, throughout the main roster brands, and be able to have stories for them and keep them relevant.
But see, here's the problem. They did that, and it's like the women that's up in SmackDown, some of them are not being used properly.
Like
Shotzi is one.
Shotzi, Raquel, Aaliyah's already hurt.
But they're using Raquel kind of properly.
Well, but that's more Shotzi than anything.
Yeah, they're gonna push. They about to push Raquel. So
you said Shotzi, right?
What happened?
Right?
Yeah, Shotzi's now being used.
She's now being used.
She's now.
Just now, but
Shotzi's just now finding her place on the WWE roster as a single competitor.
Because Vince ain't there anymore.
They ain't got nothing to do with Vince. Before
oh boy. Go ahead.
Wait. NXT and the main roster are two different beasts and two different animals.
Agreed.
That's the thing that understand.
Okay.
NXT caters to a indie crowd. Irregardless how Vince tries to push it, that is a indie crowd. That's why all indie dogs can come in there and get over. A lot of them are getting to the main roster and realizing that the WWE universe is a completely different beast.
They don't give a fuck.
Them are having a hard time getting over. Shotzi Blackheart being one, and that's one. Because you got to understand
what Hit Row did. Like Hit Row when we talked about them in Kansas, that first time they came around, it was like in Kansas.
Yep, what you call it?
We said that they debuted in Omaha And yeah, in
Nebraska,
Kansas.
yeah.
And my quote was, a month later they're gone. What happened a month later? Gone.
They were gone.
During the show, we was told they got released. We like, what? We all stopped.
Yep.
Yeah, because Hit Row, yeah, it was the Indy thing, and I get what he's saying. And then now people in Omaha not checking for hip hop, like talking about it. So they're like, "What the fuck is this? Why is this shit on my screen? What the fuck?"
Let's take it a step further, right? Mandy Rose. Mandy Rose had blonde hair. She
Mhm.
looked like a typical Vince McMahon WWE diva type.
Yeah.
She, you know, what's the blonde girl who had the service background? I can't think of her name.
Lacey
Lacey
Evans.
Evans.
See, that is Vince type if I've ever seen it. She can't get over. You see what I'm saying? So they would have to be able to bring them up, strategically place them, and the wrestlers, along with the backstage staff, have to keep themselves relevant. And that is hard to do in that main roster because the NXT crowd, the NXT audience, and the main roster audience are
I'm not gonna say all that, Jay.
Jason.
I don't say all that.
what?
Talking about Hit Row is whack. I ain't gonna say all that, man.
I will. Okay. The only good person in Hit Row was Swerve.
Yeah.
We like, oh, okay.
I'm not going to dispute that.
But Swerve was the best person. But I'm just saying, like, I'm not gonna say they whack. I'm giving it time before I make a.
Let's be clear about this. You got to see Hit Row in NXT and them make a debut. Nothing terrible. Now, what I will say, what I will make, uh, allowances for, they also got thrown from the NXT roster to the main roster based on the fact that Swerve was miles ahead of everybody else, and they
Mhm.
expect to carry them until the rest caught up.
I can agree with that.
Now there's no Swerve with this iteration now. So now
Yeah,
they're sticking them with the Street Profits, which I say I don't like. Oh my
It's boring.
Don't
That's
start doing
become
that
boring.
shit. I'm like, don't start doing that shit because it's two black groups together. Don't start doing that shit.
you know,
Like,
it's gonna be done. We know this.
just throw them together.
I don't think it's gonna be like, oh, they're a big group. I think they're just hanging out. That's it.
Yeah, but it's become boring.
I'm like, they should just fucking feud.
Exactly.
How about those two feud?
Exactly.
Look, we still waiting on Street Profits to turn heel. Look,
Or
There's
if
no
Broke can
fight.
turn heel. It doesn't matter which one turns heel.
I want to.
No.
I want to see Street Profits feud with Hit Row, and I don't want to see Hit Row feud with the Street Profits. Hit Row needs to go back to NXT to sharpen their skills.
Yes. Yes.
To go back to NXT, sharpen their skills because I've seen Funk in the ring. Ain't it? That ain't.
Feud. Thanks again.
That's not it. And I know if they take time and put them in NXT, give them, I'm gonna say at least 6 months to a year.
When used properly.
Do what y'all did with Mandy Rose.
Thank you.
yeah, they
I
brought her
agree
back over there.
wholeheartedly.
Around.
Yeah.
Do what y'all
Mandy
did.
Rose as a character now.
Do what y'all did with Divot. Even though Divot didn't need to go back, but he understood if I'm going to make it on that main roster, I got to rebuild. Do what y'all did with Divot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do what y'all did with Joe before he left.
Yeah.
Back, give them a year, let them sharpen their, and then pull them back. Pull them back up to the main roster.
They're doing it with Apollo Crews now.
Yep.
They're doing it with him now. Like Apollo Crews is back, so it's been done.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got people visiting from the main roster recently. Was it the Brutes?
I just don't like that they just they just threw him out there like Hit Row was coming back. I thought Hit Row was gonna go back to NXT at first, but I mean, they didn't have that star power yet. Then like they was not even tag champs or nothing. Like, I mean, what they won the tag title, didn't they?
No, that was Street Profits.
No, that was Swerve who had a belt.
Swerve had the
North American.
He had the North American, and Mello
I know
cashed
they had
in.
gold somewhere in there, but they was not established before they got moved on. So they could have been running roughshod in NXT, but they want them on SmackDown for some reason. I don't.
You gotta understand, while people love NXT, NXT's purpose is to get people ready. NXT is the father. That is all WWE is to get people ready to go to the main roster.
Yeah.
That's all it is. And then on top of that, you also gotta look at the main roster. For the longest time, the main roster was they're trying to beef up the main roster because you gotta look at it like this. At one point, the only superstar you had on either main roster was Orton. Shawn retired, Taker was out, Triple H was out, and a lot of those guys that they had brought in and trained to be the next generation didn't cut the mustard. A lot of them got cut. A lot of them left. That's when you had guys like Adam Rose. That's when you had guys like who else?
I mean, I did like the Adam Rose character though. That shit was funny.
Yeah, it was. Look, Adam Rose is a guy. It was fun for the do.
Yeah.
After about 3 months, okay, what else does he have besides that?
Yeah.
No way, Jose.
He just looked forward to the entrance.
Like No Way, Jose. What good was he?
Yeah. No Way, Jose.
He had the gimmick they put on. They put on the monster among men.
Yeah.
When he was the prototype of the Strowman's gimmick, he was more interesting as Leo Kruger.
Yeah.
Yes,
he was.
Yes, he was.
I give you that. He was. He was more interesting as Leo Kruger. I don't know why they changed him, but you just saw it was. You just saw all the people running out, all them weird people in costumes running out. Like, okay, this is funny to look at, but I'll fast forward through the match. But
Leo
I don't
Kruger
care if he wins or not. But
Leo Kruger didn't get over because they didn't give it time to get over. The wrestling industry suffers along with the crowd. Everybody wants everything popcorn and microwave. And if you think about it, we've watched this become the problem since the 90s. You look at
the Creeds and send him roll down.
No, leave the Creeds alone.
Leave the Creeds where they're at.
They're not ready yet.
The who?
The
Creed brothers in Diamond Mine, the two.
Nope, they're not ready.
They're not ready.
Leave
them alone.
It won't be that effective in the main roster unless they get some more character build.
You got. And his thing was right. A lot of those European guys, if they could have held on to them and signed them to exclusive contracts, they would be all right.
Well, I like, they got a couple in NXT they's able to reserve, like Tyler Bate, and I can't pronounce your boy name. Who got it?
Ilya Dragunov.
And
Dragunov. I would like to see it.
Tyler Bate could have been on the roster 3 years ago.
Absolutely.
Should have.
I won't say should have, but he could have.
Okay.
From a presentation standpoint, he was one of the ones that that were ready. Him, what's the dude with the bear on his name? He's with Sheamus now.
You talking about Pete Dunne?
Pete Dunne.
Pete Dunne.
Man, look, bring back Pete Dunne.
I mean, no, here's the thing. We got Butch, but we got the Pete Dunne personality.
Yeah, Pete Dunne. I love while I'm glad they got Walter. The fact that they made Walter lose about 40 pounds is terrible.
I mean, them chops are not the same as when he was Big Walter. Those fucking chops. Those chops sound like gunshots, man, when he was big.
There was an compared to Walter, here's my thing. Walter was small enough where you could have left him with his little beard, with his little belly he had, and he was effective. I understand why he got in shape, but he wasn't so far out of shape the way you need to make him tone up to make him a body guy. You didn't have to. But if you name NXT European guys who were ready, you got Walter, you got Dragunov, you got Pete Dunne, you had uh, you got what was Trent Seven.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Seven.
the guys from Gallus. You got all three of the guys from Gallus.
Yep.
These guys that are traditionally ready to go to the main roster. You wouldn't have this big. You wouldn't have this big up and in about the main roster not having new guys to look to.
I'm liking that Legado is finally going to SmackDown. I heard. I'm like,
About time.
see
Yep.
Santos there.
Santos and his peoples is coming.
He's strong enough to hide the other two's weaknesses. So
Yes.
I'm good with it.
But here's the thing, though: the other two guys aren't that weak. They just don't have mic time.
That too.
Yeah.
They're not that weak. I was like, that's another dude that was on the main roster that got repackaged, sent back down to NXT, and he's made it work. Now it's time to pull him back up.
Yeah, it's I'm glad they're bringing all of them up now instead of leaving some down. And
Nope. They're bringing.
I'm glad they brought Imperium back. I'm like, shit. Even though I love Vinci's fucking entrance, that's all entrance, but Imperium was better when it was them three, and they was running roughshod over NXT Europe, and when they came to NXT, they did it. Walter didn't look right just having, your boy with him.
Ludwig
with him. It didn't look Kaiser didn't look right just having one guy with him.
When the castle, Clash at the Castle came, we saw Vittorio.
And I'm like, that's what I'm talking about. I'm like, they get it. I'm like, they get it. It's like some people, if you're gonna have a faction, it can't just be two people.
No.
It can't be two people in a fucking faction.
Immediately no.
That's a tag team with two people. That's a tag team. That's not a faction. If you want to count DX with Triple H and Shawn, but they had China. See, that's three. See, they had Rick Rude in there.
They did.
And they're saying, it don't work with two people. It's just that's a tag team.
Yeah.
Shit. But man, we about to hit our 3-hour mark. Man, it was great, man. All right, we talk straight wrestling. Like this is
absolutely. Ain't nothing more better than four intelligent wrestling fans just talking wrestling.
And I'm like, great. I loved it because it was strategic. Like you spit some gems, and man, we definitely want you to come back on.
Absolutely, please.
Man, you're not too many people making the 3-hour mark, man.
You're like the second person.
You're only the second.
You're the second person.
Yeah, I said it could have went easily 4, but I know people got things to do. It's getting late.
Wait,
you know what I'm saying? So man, what we do is we do shout outs, man, so you can shout out whoever you want, to get off, to give everybody, give people time, get their roses and stuff. That's what I like to do. So.
I want roses.
This is what I'll say. If anything, I'll give not really the shout out guy, but if anything, I'll give a special shout out to the PCW crew.
Yeah, buddy.
I'll give a shout out to Iceberg. Love you, Daddy-O. I'll give a shout out to the guy that got me started in wrestling, that trained me. The two guys, I'll give a shout out to Steve Platinum and Jay Fury. Jay, if you're watching, come on back. You still owe me a match.
Come on, Jay.
Come on.
And one time for Jeff G. Bailey.
Right. All right, LaLa, you say you want to get your shout outs on.
Oh, I said I wanted roses, but
okay, we got you.
We
got you. Send LaLa. We doing the GoFundMe. Send LaLa some roses.
No.
All right, man. I'm gonna do it. I won't give you a shout out, man. Gator for coming on here, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate your wisdom you shared with us. And, man, you're welcome back anytime you feel like dropping by, man.
Absolutely.
Let us know. We'll drop you the link. And of course, shout out LaLa and the Nefarious one for coming on again. Every Thursday. I'm saying Tuesday, every Thursday. Man, I appreciate y'all. Also, shout out to my wife for putting up with all the noise I make.
All right, hold on. Let me get my shout outs in. First of all, shout out to Jeter. Thank you for stopping by. And second of all, sir, ain't nothing wrong with Crown Heights. Third of all.
Damn.
Third of all.
New York beef.
Damn.
John Cena loves the kids. He's not just a bag of muscles. Thank you very much. But real talk, thank you for coming in. Thank you for coming in, though. Thank you for coming in. And buy the merch. Make sure y'all follow. Make sure y'all subscribe to my YouTube channel, LaLa's Empire. Mo and Ishmael, thank you for tolerating me because I'm like the baby sister that's annoying. I have a birthday coming up in 2 weeks, October 22nd. When I say buy the merch, use the special code for things October 31, LaLa 31. It's 31 days of Halloween.
And be on the lookout for our code for her birthday too. So we're gonna have a code for our merch.
We got codes everywhere.
Exactly.
And shout out to everybody watching. Okay, bye.
New merch shirt, Venomous shirt live. We got
it, buddy. First of all, young man, thank you for coming on the show and dropping some awesome knowledge and just you made me now I gotta look at Killer Cross a little different.
I'll still go look at him the same.
But you dropped knowledge and you spoke on things that made absolute sense, and I'm like, damn. So for that, I thank you. Thank you all you guys. Mrs. B, I'm sorry I'm sick, but it sucks. But
still get ready.
Maybe. But thank you guys. I really appreciate being here. Thank you.
That's one more thing. Thank y'all for having me.
Oh, no problem, man.
Dude, thank you for coming on.
Man, next time we gotta get you and ERC on here together because I know that'll be a blast.
If I could make one suggestion, try and get Brian Blaze, Matt Hankins, Shane Marks, and Najee.
Najee already.
Of course, I should know.
See what happened was I went to a PCW event and I had Najee System come by, had ERC come by. So yeah, I've been around PCW like once or twice. So I got to spin around the block over there.
We definitely will try to get those people on and tell them about us and we look. We ain't hard to find. I tell people we ain't hard to find, man. Look, we'll put you on. We don't care.
Yeah, man. Thank y'all again.
All right. And no problem, man. And
thank you.
Everybody else, who watching, join us tomorrow. We'll do our sports show with me Thank Doc is gonna be there and the Diabolical Hater, of course, is gonna always be there. And Izzy won this week's picks, so he gets the gloat again. It's the second week in a row Izzy didn't beat us in picks. Yeah. So join the show tomorrow. We'll be back at 5 o'clock Central, 6 o'clock Eastern. This is your host, Mo Young. We got the big fucking deal, Gita in the house. You got LaLa and the Nefarious one. We'll see y'all later, people. Peace. We out.
Bye.
Good night, people.
Buy the merch.
Who's
is.
No, that ain't Esther. I'm gonna need Becky.
That's some racist. I felt some type of way when she said that shit. Well, look at here, Esther. Who the fuck is Esther?
Okay. How could you not appreciate that match that they put on? Because we've seen it before. Shut the fuck up. Kenny Omega going 30 minutes is not going the distance, if you will. Them fuckers put a clinic for 60 goddamn minutes, and y'all should have enjoyed it. Asshole. That's all. I'm done. I gotta take a piss.
No, it's send Jeff Hardy to AEW. Let him be with his brother. Shit. I'm tired of Jeff Hardy. It's not the fucking same Jeff Hardy. He's old now.
Oh.
He's old. He can't do the swanton bomb like he used to no more. He's like an old man falling.
It's just a case where Father Time caught him. And there's no shame in that.
He's an old man falling.
They don't love themselves.
That's how they are in the AEW group. I'm a hooker. Oh my God, Hook. Oh my God, I'm a hooker.
Oh my God, WWE sucks.
WWE sucks. Watch out now. Vince Hooker about to Hook gonna put Vince out of business. I'm a hooker.
By the way, you stupid hooker.
Yay, Hook.
Dominic.
Your Thursdays will never be the same.